This is the Cutting Edge, and I remember they are with you next Wednesday. This Wednesday is in January, and we'll start countdown already. Imagine that Christmas soon coming. 2015. Christmas soon just round the corner. Anyway, you might be wondering why we're playing that song. But for those of us who know, and those of us who know about the music business and things, know that you have a brother named King Sporty. King Sporty lived in Florida for years, and King Sporty passed away. Now, we realized that this year passed away, so the year start out now with the first casualty of death from a Jamaican artist. King Sporty spent most of time in Florida, but he was very influential in the music industry. For those of you who don't know, him actually helped to write Buffalo Soldier with Bob Marley. We're going to play a King Sporty version of Buffalo Soldier, but he was also married to a great soul sister singer, Betty Wright. You know that Betty Wright sometimes sits standing for Judy Mowatt in the I3. But Betty Wright is the woman will get like Clean Up Woman. Them kind of big song from, some serious song. She sing love songs from them time there. Well, King Sporty passed away. And we just say, well, it's just strange that a whole heap of people not going to know King Sporty because he never the most time working at Jamaica. But we want to give you a little synopsis of who him is. As we say, is him right? Or help write Buffalo Soldier with Bob Marley. Here goes King Sporty. How we are going? How we are going upon my things, Rasta? Anyway, King Sporty help fashion that song, Buffalo Soldier, where Bob Marley make it a big hit on them albums. But, as we say, I will one might not remember him. He used to do with Coxon in them days there. I actually know him through the same tune where I just play first. From them disco days, Thinking of You. So we say, yes, King Sporty, you do your thing. You're gone. And we say, blessed. You know, tonight is a very crucial night. We're going to say some crucial things, and we're going to play crucial things. You know, in November, we start play some tapes, so we think, say, the kind of make Cutting Edge what Cutting Edge is. And we play some tape. And we know that those tapes is the tapes a whole heap of one grow up on. And a whole heap of one listen to and get very conscious of certain things. To the point where, you know, we want to heal up a sister in England. We heal her up the other night. Well, it's the other day we heal her up, you know, why heal up the other night, you know. She named Ancobia. And she, as we said before, she is the one that make me know of Cutting Edge programs documented in my archives. Because she take it up on her head to document it and gave me it in England. When I was in England, she gave me copies and copies of the program. I mean, really, without the interview, without the advertisement them night. Well, we just got a email from her where she showed me the listenership on YouTube. And this is a scientific thing too. This listenership thing by Duke Baysee YouTube channel was published on the 24th of December 2014, which is just the other day, not even a month ago, which is like on the eve of the holiday night. I think we did it on the radio that Wednesday night there. Wednesday 24th, 25th, no, how it go? I don't remember if 24th was the eve of Christmas. Yeah, of course, 24th was the eve of Christmas. So I say, on my birthday, I think, every time I hear about Christmas, I vex it up because I say, my birthday comes the same time, and I can't tell people say not the 25th of December, my band, but them keep celebrating my birthday on the 25th, and then make me forget that the 26th, my band. But here I know. She sent me a very interesting research. I don't know how them do it, but them people, they have them way to do it. And according to what she sent me, we can't call out the 159 different countries were cutting edge in because of YouTube. But and I really not supposed to like hear that. I really not supposed to love hear that, no, you know that. And she said there's more according to our statistics here, and obviously not she do the statistics. Some scientific poll, them poll and say cutting edge on YouTube, total 159 countries. And she said she knows that there's more, but according to this poll, cutting edge is known in 159 countries all over the world. And when I look on the thing and I can't make it out, you know, I can't make out the countries them, you know. But I see all Vietnam in it. Can you imagine that? People are listening to me in Vietnam. I see Malaysia, I see Thailand, Thai 2, Thai 3, and Thai 4. I see so much places where I never go yet. But people have been listening to the cutting edge feverishly. So I yell up all the people them who know about cutting edge in these 159 countries. And as we said, this is not no peke poll. This is a poll that can be spoken about. Cause this little sister here, she wouldn't send it to me if it wasn't real. And Bishop Papa, we should do cutting edge over the years. Me know says that sister will listen and look out for cutting edge over the years. And when she send me this, it's for show me that me need to deal with certain things. So, we want to heal up all the people them in the 159 odd countries will listen and will view cutting edge. And whosoever that brother there named Duke Bassey on YouTube channel, where I hear to them screen some of them things them and all. And this poll was compiled and published on the 24th of December 2014. And I tell her, I email her, I can't tell her, I say she must send me a proper printout of the countries them, because it blur. I can be, I say England, I say Canada, and I say Malaysia, Thailand, I say Vietnam, Switzerland, Singapore. I mean, some countries where, I mean, you'd never believe them people there would are interested to hear a Rastaman a rant and a rave on the radio for 20 odd years. But that is how it go. That is how it go. 159 countries, people listening to the cutting edge. That is why it's very important when we say on the ear, because it now come off of YouTube. And the more it there is, the more people tune in. Even when we are talking so now, people going to go upon it feverishly to examine the things them that we say, and the things them that we should say, and the things them that we shouldn't say. But we keep saying them, and we not stop saying it, because we have the microphone in front of us to speak, and we have to use it to awaken the conscience and the consciousness of the people. This is the cutting edge on RFA. So, as we are saying now, this is what we really want to talk about. I don't know how much people know, but there is a group of brethren and sisters named the Hebrew Israelites. Black people them. black people, black Hebrew Israelites. And it's a very big organization in the earth, yeah. And in the late 90s, some of the members used to come to Jamaica regular. We used to have them on this program. Every time them come to Jamaica, as a matter of fact, we usually have them in the studio and speak about them viewpoints about Christianity, religion, all sorts of different things. Well, them leader named Ben Amim, I don't know how much people know, but Ben Amim passed away about 2 weeks ago. The spiritual leader of the Hebrew Israelites. For those of you who never hear, now you hear, now you know. Ben Amim passed away about a week before last. And why we mention Ben Amim now is because me and Tony Rebel went to Israel. I can't remember exactly which year. I want if Tony listen. Somebody remember when me and Tony Rebel go to Israel. I think it was in the 98 or something about this. So anyway, by the time the program done, we find out. Somebody will hear me talk and call Tony Rebel. And make Tony Rebel tell me what year me and him did go down to Israel. But we went to a place named Dimona, Israel, where they took them organization and settled in Israel as original Hebrew Israelites. Now, Ben Amim died week before last, and why I mention it is that I was saying, well, Ben Amim died, and I did one of the most intense, when I say intense, I mean really intense interview. I don't think him have ever done any interview like that for so long. In his own house. We was in his house with him 7 wives them and him people them, and we was really going in it seriously. Now while I was saying, say I should have really play back that interview there. This today, I should have played back the interview today. I look for this interview and I can't find the interview. And I said, wait, but Ankobe, I know they set up the things them a certain way. So I could go back in them DVD which she did give me and tape the program and see if I can find it. Lo and behold, I found 3 DVD with about 50 cutting edge program on it. And right there was the interview when we do with Ben Amim. And one where when me and Tony Rebel had come back. We did in the studio about 2 weeks. And we did an interview when me and Tony Rebel talked about the experience in Israel. And I remember to Cabo, Calway, on our running African program the morning, while we was driving through the city, and the Israeli police them stop me. And meanwhile, the Israeli police them stop me. Whether they attack to Cabo, I say Cabo, the police them stop me. We are no police, not soldier. The soldier them stop me. We have to go stop talk as well. Anyway, now I am saying to myself, I can't find the tape, but I find the tape. And when I find the tape, I said to myself, when I was in Israel, one of my main interests was the similarities between the 12 tribes of Israel and the Hebrew Israelites. And I remember God talking about Ethiopia is not the final destination, but it's Jerusalem. And I remember, I said, when I don't have Israel, and I said, why, it's really a travesty that 12 tribe have a big organization like 12 tribe. Them never do anything substantial to bring this reality to fruition like all these Hebrew Israelites. Considering the 12 tribe was before them, because 12 tribe was Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15 when we did go there from school days. At Davis Lane, it was Ethiopian World Federation Charter 15. until God realized the Charter 15 was legitimate. Him going at the Bible and come up now with the 12 tribe of Israel. Okay, so meanwhile I don't have Israel now. I look at the whole setup of the brethren them and the sister them and I say, but it got away there. 12 tribe, a big organization with 12 tribe have. And all of these members and all of this money was pumped into 12 tribe. You can't even say, them don't have a school or a little shop where them can help the members them. I will go to Israel, I will see this group, the members, which was like about 3,000 strong when we go down there. We used to have 6,000 of them down there now. This man named Benjamin could have set up the group where they make them own clothes because everybody down there wear, ironically, West African outfit, even though them didn't have Israel, but them actually wear African clothes and they make it themselves. Them have them own school. Them have them own tofu factory. And them is vegetarian. Them is vegetarian. Something where you, them, when we just go in a 12 tribe, you could have never talked about vegetarian thing in a 12 tribe. Man want run you out if you can talk about vegetarian. I know where you eat. And this and no food doctrine. And on the food doctrine, you tell them about, you tell them about something. We're good for your structure, your system. But through them, so inner them, whatsoever them inner, it was very difficult for them move from that. Plus, the Jesus doctrine was very conflicting with the hardcore Rastafari movement, especially the Nyabingi house. The Jesus doctrine was something where 12 tribe bring out amongst the middle class youth them in a Jamaica who couldn't really deal with the hardcore Rastafari blood and fire. But them could have really recognized themselves in a doctrine where I tell them about the Bible, about Jesus Christ and Haile Selassie. And God was very instrumental in drawing out a whole heap of middle class youth to come wear a red gold, not locks, but wear red, gold, and green tam. So when you say a 12 tribe meeting, you say red, gold, and green tam just pretty up the place. Now, the difference between Benjamin and there's a lot of similarities. The similarity of recognizing Jerusalem and recognizing the Lion of Judah as a spiritual manifestation, while God have a saying in a 12 tribe, and people usually, if you can know a 12 tribe thinker by him greetings. Him say, greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who has this day revealed himself in the personality of Emperor Haile Selassie I. Now, a whole heap of people don't recognize that when it say Jesus Christ revealed himself in the personality of Haile Selassie, it's not telling you that Haile Selassie, the man, is Jesus Christ. Him just have the characteristics of this man who 12 tribe claim to be the person who going to save the world and him going to come back. In other words, God philosophy is based upon the Christian philosophy, where Jesus Christ dead and him going to raise again and him going to come sit down upon the throne. But it's just a time and a time before him come sit down upon the throne. So them try to protect the idea of the throne that Haile sit down upon, but knowing say Haile Selassie is, according to for them doctrine, Haile Selassie is not the last emperor. Now, I have said this to say this, that here I am now saying I'm going to play this tape. And someone now is telling me that if I did hear running African, now through me I do all sorts of things, I know, believe you me. I go to my bed at some serious hours, I go to my bed, I know, with this whole heap of play out business now. I said, no. I said, yeah, she play an interview what she do with Gad. I said, yeah, oh, yeah, I know that interview there with Gad. I said, right, what's that thing this? Here she playing this thing with Gad, and me now, I figure out, say, me I go do. Me I go play Benamim. And to me, where Benamim them reach is where 12 tribes should have passed long time. 12 tribes should have passed out Benamim and gone further than that. Now Gad died, Benamim died. But when you look on the work, because it's not just going to Jerusalem, but actually taking a claim in Israel. These brethren take a claim in Israel that the government of Israel have to recognize them as legitimate Jews. Them claim black Jews. So them decide, say, them go to Israel and them go land in Israel, even though them don't have nothing, and them claim themselves to be Jews. And you know, say, if you land in the airport in Israel, you know, and declare yourself a Jew, right away, you know, it's very easy for you to get citizenship, you know. And the government put them on a piece of land named the Mona, where it's like a desert place. And they have, it's like bomb shelter. And you're going to hear Tony Rebel talk about it. Because we're going to play 2 tapes tonight. 2 tapes we're going to play. We're going to play the one with me and Tony Rebel does a talk, bridging a talk frivolously in the studio. And we're going to play the interview where we do with Benamim. Now deceased, past. And we look on the history of 12 tribes as the biggest organization ever passed through here of brethren who claim Rastafari and who claim Rastafari. And we look on the work, and even though people, you know, read the Bible 1 chapter a day, you know, Jesus Christ revealed himself in the person of Selassie, send couple man, well not couple, but several man go to Ethiopia, and that is it, because sending the people them go to Ethiopia and don't set them up in a way that they won't be dependent on others or the Ethiopian government is one thing. You see? So you can't just, you say you first send the most people go to Ethiopia. And then when you look on the presence of 12 tribes in a Jamaica, is you recognize the presence of 12 tribes in Jamaica is of no more significance than a club, a brethren and Christian club, where really and socially, because they was intent of going to Ethiopia and looking for Jesus Christ to come back and sit up on the throne, or Zaro Jacob to sit down on the throne. Them never foresee that it would take more social movements and social things, create social things to come and recognize that you need just more than saying it's 12 tribes of Israel, saying you're going to go to Ethiopia and then go to Jerusalem, and saying that Jesus Christ is going to come back again. The difference between Benamim group and 12 tribes of Israel, one of the differences is that Benamim group don't accept the New Testament. Benamim group consciously, even though they might quote things out of the New Testament, like myself, I will quote things out of the New Testament, but Benamim group recognize from Genesis to Malachi. That is as far as them go. Them don't recognize Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and all these people, because them say no Hebrew Israelite would have these names. So there must be something intrinsically wrong if you have a group of man write about Yeshua, because them don't talk about Jesus neither. them don't recognize the name Jesus Christ. That's the next thing too. That's a total different thing from God, who continue talking about Jesus Christ and 12 tribe. And when we there 12 tribe, I will say, when we're not Jesus Christ, man is a serious thing. For God say that, especially if you go among Naya Bingy man, you go among Naya Bingy man, you honor some serious scrutiny. But we pass that, and we recognize that this organization has done, apart from sending a couple people go to Ethiopia and leaving them there to fend for themselves, and apart from keeping, and we don't want to make it sound like we are, bash 12 tribe, but I'm just drawing a similarity between something that I go to Israel and say, from an organization that is younger than 12 tribe, that have the same, they wanted to do the same thing. Right now, 12 tribe is like an organization where we wait for the next holiday if we keep our next party or a stage show, as far as me can say. And people vex with me now because I say that, but check it out. It's like 12 tribe now, it's just an organization where that's how we wait for the next holiday if we keep a 12 tribe dance, 12 tribe party. But infrastructure, social things for the movement, social things for the organization is not put in place so that people can benefit from it, where the members who cannot help themselves will be able to be helped from the organization. And that is what we see in a Benjamin group. Benjamin recognized himself as Judah. 12 tribes said them is 12 tribes based upon a God perception of different moon, from one new moon to the next. Him give you a tribe. Benjamin man them say, if them a follow the Lion of Judah, which is not Haile Selassie them a follow, but the Lion of Judah, them say, them is Judah. And that is ordinary original Rastaman, old time Rastaman who read Bible. Them used to say, because them is sons of Haile Selassie. And Haile Selassie is from the tribe of Judah. Them also is from the tribe of Judah. Them never recognize the other tribe them as such. And that is what we see with Benjamin group too. So, we want to, first, we're going to play, alright, we can say if we find it. Yeah, we're going to play. Wait, so we have advertisement them there?
Yes.
Alright, click the advertisement and then we'll play the thing with me and Tony Rebel. This is the Culture Edge. As we say, we want to play this little tape here first, and then we'll go into the interview. And we really feel good for know, say, we are connect the running African with the Cutting Edge in at least 25 anniversary, 25 years of IRFM, that we can go back into the archives and draw some tape where we did play, where we did make the program them be what it is. Just like how we did know, say, when Cabo did do that interview there with Brother Gad, it was the first time I'm going to do an interview so intense also. And when we did do that interview, yeah, when we go to Israel, the interview where we do with Benjamin was not done in Jamaica. He can never come to Jamaica yet. We go to Israel and go in our house and them set it up and we do the interview in our house. And that is not something where it's done regular. So these two interview is some special interview. And once again, we want to heal up the sister in England and Cobia. Believe you me. So we're going to play the one now where me and Tony Rebel in a IRFM studio talk about experience, but we're going to play R4 because it's a very long, it was 2 weeks we're having at the studio here attack, and we're going to play apartheid. Listen.
Good night. This is the Cutting Edge, the program that gives you esoteric truth. Yeah, program that shed light into your darkness. Stay tuned from now until 2. I am Lalo Bella. You're wondering which new voice this is on IRFM. But I'm here alongside Mutabaruka to take you through until 2. Stay tuned.
Yes. The one feel proud of himself, man. The one has accomplished the greatest feat in his life. Yeah, well, to give thanks be there. That was Lalibela to the Rebel. And this is Mutabaruka, where I take you through the paces straight up. You understand? As we've been talking from last week, we've been to what they call the Holy Land. And we trod the trod. We have been in the footsteps of many, and we have been places where many did not go because we didn't go there as tourists. You understand? So we didn't have a tourist guide to show us what they want to show us. So we will take you to the places as we did last week and just hear the thoughts of Lalibela Tony Rebel. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM.
Yeah, Cutting Edge. Yeah, man, Lalibela there, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to spend the whole night to introduce yourself.
Yeah, man, you must introduce yourself, but the people now that don't really know who this man beside you, so I have to make sure, sir.
Alright, this is the man called Lalibela there with me, and we're going to, as we say, carry through the paces of our visit to Israel. Last week we could tell the people them about the different places to go, but we never touched upon really. What I never touched upon was like the Mona itself, where the brethren them, the Hebrew Israelite brethren them, of them, the Hebrew Israelite brethren them, of them community. There is this community that we went, which is the main area where them said about 1,000 ones there. And just that area there alone, is so much activities are going on. Because when we reach there, we see so much sisters and children, and you know, right in front of the communities is school, you know, and them have them health food store upon the same premises, you know, them have a thing where them feed children. Remember we go around where them say, them feed the children, them, and then them have the guest houses where them put me on the eye, you know. But it was very interesting to see the setup. You know, and you know, we never really elaborate on the setup, but how do I see it? The whole setup, you know.
Well, most of the community as a model community for black people, differently, because the love and the fellowship, we see a kind of what we call a divine brotherhood within the community, the way the people greet each other, the way them talk to each other, them talk with so much respect, and you know, they have so much respect for women, and you know what I mean. I love the whole fact that them make them own food, they make them own clothes, them have them own school. You know what I mean, where them have them own teachers and everything, and send them youth. So to me, it's like, even though you know Israel is a place where different people fighting for the land, and you could have declared it as a war zone, and you know that is a problematic area. The people in the Dimona seem to be living,
carve out a little
them different, you know, like them unconcerned about what going outside of them. And if you should have go to the moon and stay within the community, it's like an Israeli there.
Because it's pure black people. It's pure black people, right? So, you know, and we're interesting too is that more and more ones is coming there physically. You know, more and more ones coming from the United States. I find that a lot of Bermudans is there. For some reason or another. Bermuda, will be brethren and sister from Bermuda, reach this so, but
US Virgin Island.
US Virgin Island. But you know, is every day you can see that there's more and more ones coming in, you know.
And the people from the people who in that organization, all of them not just live in that community, but neighboring communities, is like them set up other thing in different communities. Because if you notice the day when the passport was there, it's like a whole lot of people, different from the people who come from the States. A whole lot of people where them tell us about them live on the Kiefer and thing, you know.
Well, let me tell you, say you have another set of people coming, but that was only 1,000, and them say it's 3,000 and then we did it.
Right.
You know, and so where we did that, it was like just a small portion.
Right.
And we really did it. Very interesting to notice to that. At the gathering, all of the families, each family have on the same clothes that day, because that was representing each family. So, like all of the wife them, and the man and the children them, one family that wear blue, and next one that wear green, and next one that wear multicolor. So, and each of them have their own tent. So you could have really distinguish the different families from it. That was nice. That was nice. You know.
They're wonderful.
Anytime you see a family, you know, because you see a bridge, you see a little youth run. And you say,
you look around, you see a man, you know,
and father. You see the two wives, them, the three wives, the depending on, you know, say, well, that related to that family, you know. That was nice. I love that, you know. I really love that. Yeah, this is the Continental on RFM, the Mona. The Mona is a place in southern Judea, what them call Judah, and that was where we spend most of the time. In Israel, just looking, observing, and seeing what was taking place.
And there's a place like the word means to rejuvenate. When Benjamin them leave America and they were in Liberia, it's like when them come through and come in Israel, like the government just put them down there, let them feel like. Then they go and move, you know? Yeah. It's like some bomb shelters. The place used to be really.
A couple bomb shelters.
Still there, yeah.
Right, which part the net bar was a bomb shelter.
Right.
So, yeah.
But right now, they remodel everything, and trust me, all the houses properly put together. Yeah. And you know what I noticed though is when you're there, where the key for there, and you look like Eastern wise. There is something in the sky, looking like you know, whatever figure they used to test weather, whatever. But the brother said, look, like
balloon them,
the
balloon them,
like it's focused to the right and the community.
Yeah, Judah. We hear about Judah a while, and we know that Judah was the separation in Israel, that this tribe. They separate itself from Israel, you know. And most of the brethren them and the compounds themselves as from that tribe, Judah, because they're following the ordinances of the Messiah. The Messiah. We tell the people them last week that we went to, I don't know if you are remind which part we go, because I don't remember the amount of place we go. Remember, say, we left the Mona, we was driving, the brother talk about Bethsheba.
Bethsheba.
The seven wells of Abraham. That was in that area. Bethsheba, 7 wells of Abraham. So remember that. Remember we drive
Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai. Them show Mount Sinai. Yeah. When we drive, them show with this nuclear place. Where them say is a big nuclear place and nobody is nobody's allowed to build anything near there.
Well, that is further from the Mona, because the Mona
actually drive go down.
The Mona kind of in a desert.
Yeah, it's really a desert. It's real. I find some most of the places desert though.
Most of the places we don't see a whole lot of trees.
No tree at all, pure stone and gravel and thing, you know.
Yeah.
You don't really see. And then it's when I see the most tree is when we drive go at the Red Sea and we see the olive, not the olive, the date tree there. And I say that is the most clustering amount of trees. When you drive
Jerusalem kind of green too. Jerusalem. Yeah.
But I don't see no consistent greenery. It's like it's just land and pure land and just more land.
In my head, it looked like in ancient time, the people who used to live in Israel is some destructive thing to the land. And one of the main things they think them do is cut down the trees. So is once a year them say rain fall down there. Rain don't the pass but the rain the fall. So I guess you could attribute the known trees to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the way we see to is that they must suck out the water out of the sea, so you have more land. And let's see.
Well, it was interesting to see the live sea when we went there, Muta. The hills, the mountain that surround. Yes, and you could see the water marks and so forth.
But remember the man, where we did walk go up on the hill, we had to shell on the ground.
Like water the there too?
Yeah, you never to the shell.
Yeah.
Come pick up a whole heap of shell and me say, and we up here so the water the there start. This is like a distance from the sea, maybe about 2 hour drive from the sea.
Yeah.
And you see like shell. You know, but yeah, you see the mountain there, you see the watermark.
Right.
Really carve some impressions.
But I think one of the greatest resources down there is the mineral in the sea. So them keep sucking it out.
They keep sucking out the sea. Like the British say, when the Israelis them find out that the thing was so valuable and the Americans them, it's like them just lock a year at it.
Right.
And every minute you see some big truck a pass with some farm of mineral, but the most important part, and I know the most important part of the trip to Tony was going to what they call the Dead Sea.
The live sea.
What we call the live sea.
They love it. Me they love it.
Yes. I love it too.
And that man second you see when you love it too. But people, let me tell you, cool the fuck.
You ask me back like mud.
You see a mud there.
Hey, look at that.
But people hear this now. You see Muta now, when him go down at the live sea, him ear say him know for swimming now. But he was so excited that Muta choke off.
The water.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you the water there, it overly salt, you know. Like when that reaches their eyes, trouble, you know. Yeah.
Me choking eye, man. Me choking eye, and me I tell you, man, me have to come out of the water and squeeze about 10 minutes. I shock me and I squeeze up me that some more water and I go, hey, you see when you sweat?
Yeah.
And the sweat run by your skin and go in your eye, your eye start to burn in. You know see it? But
like a pepper, right now police or whoever now getting an idea either. Could I use that as tear gas?
No,
serious. Yeah, man.
Yeah, if a man spray it on your eye, man, you better hold your eye, man.
Yeah, man.
This is salt water now, you know. But
some amount of mineral in there. It's your mud, man.
It's a television, you see?
It's your mud. Say tell the people say walk over snake to get some mud.
It depends on the internet, you know. So we walk through snake and scorpion to go for this mud here, but here we know. We're back in the mud and we have it in with labels and everything there. Dead sea mud.
Live sea mud.
Well, the people that alright, live sea mud, but here we know. We want the people that know say this is a very ancient mud that was very therapeutic and is very therapeutic.
Yeah, man,
because the people spend millions of dollars just to go to get a piece of this water and a little bit of this mud. We go across Europe, we go across America, we go in at the body shop and thing, and we see them have these jars of what them call the Dead Sea K, where them say it open pores and for
remove pimples and everything.
Well, watch out now. You see when we go for this here, the Israeli now. These are the real thing now, because the one hot spring we push me out of it, you know, because when the Israeli go there and him say the spring was right here. Where was the spring? And the man say, oh, the earthquake moved it, and I say, boss, I won't do the rest. After you tell me, say, snake down here. And you know, so we're in the dark, you know, because it's dark night, you know. When you look up a pure star, you see, you know. And I follow these two Israeli, I go for this mud. Right? And it's down here going and it's pure stone. You go from, but the more you reach to the sea, is the sand, like stone, gravel, sand, then mud. So it's walk go down there now, and this Israeli saying, Mutabaruka, you are very brave. You are very brave. And I said, why are you saying I'm very brave? He said, there are snakes down here. we say, brethren. So where I tell me, said, oh, he say, you're the other one in front of me now. All you have to do is stamp your feet. And Mr. Bridget,
they'll run.
Me nah come here, so come make snake bite me, you know, because me nah left the mud. So they say, all them snake, you know, they have to go to sit down and eat them rock, because me a go down there.
But Muta, you're braver than never,
no, one of them stay up at the top, you know. He never come down there, because all of them up at the top. Mutabaruka, you are very brave. This is very adventurous. Very adventurous. I mean, I say, yeah, but me now go back to Jamaica without this mud. Yeah. It's the most precious thing me go to Israel. Go find the mud. You understand? So, you see when me and the Virgin go down there now, because him tell we say him know a spring, you know. Add spring down. Thing me go to Israel. Go find the mud. You understand? So, you see when me and the Virgin go down there now, because him tell we say him know a spring, you know. Add spring down there, right? This is like you sit up over one side of the sea and you see Jordan over the other side, right? So now we're going down in this dark place now, you know, can't see nothing in front of it. But I am following this Israeli, and this Israeli guy telling me, say, oh, the spring is here, the spring is here. Me see him walk go right, me see him walk go left. Mr. Brethren,
spring was here.
You laugh. Him say, last week the spring was here. Mr. Never after the spring, Brethren, the other one behind me. It seems as if the earthquake moved it. Mr. Brethren, watch that out. Me set up in the middle of this because me see the earth crack still there. But we don't see no spring. So the person at the dark, they are searching for this spring, and the man say, you know, last week the spring was here, a very nice hot spring. Me say, watch out now, me don't put that spring, because me now beard. Me want to see the mud. So the bridge, you know, what did they behind me now? Him stand up there now, when him look up, you know, we see a light, because half the road we drive, you know. When we look up at the top now, we see a light a come. So Mr. Bridget, it's all that in the you know, it is maybe some of our friends. Mr. Maybe, I mean maybe some of our friends. Go up there, look at our rasta, we are talking about maybe some of our friends. You see a little more now, me go down now and Mr. Bridget take up a piece as a rod. And then say, look, there is water on the end of this that I will never wish to see yet. And say, this is where the spring is. So when we go there now, and put him on underneath, we are underneath one hole in our rasta and come up, you know.
Snail coil.
Him say, Mutabaruka, this is the real mud, man. This is the very real thing. This is the real thing. So I say, hey, let me see it there. You say, me go for underneath it. The thing hot in our rasta. The mud hot, you know. I used to go so now, me say, yes, at this me come here for you know, me just draft it 2 scandal bag, you know. I used to be done full scandal.
Mud up!
Me just mud up. You say, we are going back now, it can't drama no head, you know. When we are going back now, we're going to the van now, and me I say, Brethren, when we are going up now, we see a big flood like us, a bloops, and just turn on power now, and me I say, Bloom bad, what is now? Him say, it's the police. We are not supposed to be here. Mr. Brethren, a long time we don't yet we're not supposed to be here, Rasta. So what the police never come trouble with. So anyway, we drive off now. We now come out of this place now, hear the man. And you know something, Mutabaruka, you know why I'm saying you're very adventurous. There are a lot of scorpions down here. Mr. Brethren, so it's when I come out, give thanks to tell me, say, apart from snake.
Can't even tell you when you're going to get the mud, you know?
You know, because, you know, when the president tell me must stamp my foot, me not thinking in my mind, they can't stamp my foot on the snake road. But when they start telling me about the scorpion road, we don't know about stamp foot on the scorpion road. When we go up on the road now, we see a big sign in a Hebrew language. So we say, what the sign say? Him say, the sign is saying that this is a private area. We are not supposed to go there because it's a bomb, the bomb shell. You know, them plant the bomb, them at the ground, them. That means, you know, them not, the mine is a mine area. Me say, wait there. This is serious thing I go on there, so now. Apart from snake, scorpion, you know, that was actually walking in a mine area. He said, this is within the days, try to escape over to the Jordan side. They travel to this. So the Israelis put the mining there for the mining area. They say, okay, you see this morning when we come back to Jamaica. You see this morning of all the mines and the snakes and the scorpions and the police lights and we got to forget this about that.
I take a small contribution.
I like that. I love my contribution. I love that because you know, I go into the body shop and see them as the Dead Sea mud. I love about them have stores on that have pure Dead Sea mud products. And when I look at how much them sell Dead Sea mud for and tell you how much therapeutic value it have, and I look at the internet the other day and I see how much things in the sea. Magnesium chloride, sodium chloride, this all sorts of things when I water there, and I say, okay. And I know 3 data we use it since I come here. And they have gotten results.
Yeah, man, it work, cause it's work for me.
Yes.
But you can put on some today and, you know, it's like it really clear up certain little people.
Yes, I know datas where use it since I come, and so we decided that we're going to package it.
Very good. Very good.
We are in both business now.
Yes.
White people do it, we can do it too. Yes, Continental Jive FM, 29 minutes past 2 o'clock, we're still there with you. Talking about Israel. And we want to heal up all the people them on the internet levels, you know, who's listening, you know, knowing, say, Yeah, this is a reality that we really want to express to the people them after going hither and thither. And we have seen so much things. I have seen so much things in my life. You know what I mean? As a youth, I grew up. I never know say I'll reach at them place there.
The oldest city on earth.
Who did it ever tell me 30 years ago, 20 years ago, say one day I'd go walk in a Mount Zion, walk in a Jerusalem, go in a the Dead Sea,
walk in a Jericho,
go up on the Red Sea, go have cruise. Who that tell I say I'd go cruise on the Red Sea, you know?
Well, perform on the Red Sea.
Perform on the Red Sea, perform on the Red Sea, you know, go to Jericho, you know? Who that tell I say I'd go to the Garden of Gethsemane,
sit down for a camel.
You know, yes, you know, who that tell I these things? Who that tell I say one day I'd reach the highest mountains of Ethiopia in Lalibela, looking at these things? Who that tell I say I'd reach in a Gondar, Bahadar, up on the River Nile? Who that tell I all these things? I never know say these things. And I give thanks. I give thanks that these things come to pass for I in a lifetime, because I know some people dream of these things and die dreaming of these things. So I feel I am very blessed. Yes. Who did I tell I say? How did it walk in the Colosseum where I look at Roman soldiers a fight, the gladiators are fighting at this place, and I go stand up right at the midlight and say, so this is the Colosseum where all of these emperors of Rome used to sit and watch the lions eating the people them. This is the Colosseum. Who did I tell I one day that I walk in the forum where the laws of Rome was made? Who did I tell I one day that I walk in a St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City? I never know all this. I do it without shoes, though. And some know say now, Tony Rebel love me more than everybody else in the world. Because Tony Rebel go by the two most important places in life. I told you see the tradit without shoes.
Yeah.
The highest mountains and the rockiest mountains with all the mac and scorpions and snakes.
The virgin them came up on a mountain where them some Moses used to go pray and meditate. So I go up there and the man them have some prayer whether they are reason, you know. Boy, I tell you, it took Muta a little while to come down. When Muta come down, Muta say, yeah, can wear shoes now. Yeah, some people who promise to buy him the first beer.
No, me are the clear say. If I want to you, I'm going to shoot out of feel away. Because it's three places in a life, I did not say, is places where I want them places there. Rome, Ethiopia, and Israel. Because to Rome to I is the most fascinating place I go in Europe. Because when I go to Rome, it's like it should just come back to me. You know see? And I see all the Colosseum, I see Mussolini, where Mussolini stand up and declare all of these things, when I try to build a new Rome. You know see? I see all these places.
The Vatican City.
I go to the Vatican City. One day when we go to the Vatican City, we see the Pope come out, because every Sunday them come out and attack. And we go there, me and the musician them go there, go stand up and we listen to the Pope, the Sunday morning. The next place is Ethiopia. All of this are in a Rome. No shoes. A treading through Rome, Vatican City, no shoes. St. Peter's Basilica, we're going to place. Nobody never going to them places without shoes. Yet, me know that as a fact. Just like how we're going to Parliament the other day in South Africa, in a Cape Town. We're going to Parliament. Nobody has ever walked in that place without shoes. Me know that as a fact. Alright. We go in the highest regions of Lalibela, Gondar, Bahadar, Addis Ababa, Shashamane, Sesesat, go on and need the waterfalls and all these places. And we are trying at them high mountains. Lalibela, they have to tell you, say, Mutabaruka was there without shoes.
Yeah, man, it's true.
We go in Israel. We go into Mount Zion. We go in the Holy Sepulchre. Stand up on the stone where them say, this brother here, they lay down upon. Jesus. We put your foot on it. Go down. We put your foot on it. Go down, you. No shoes. We walked in the highest Alps in Switzerland, where them call the Matterhorn, with snow-capped. Yes. So you know Tony Rebel.
Spring, summer, autumn, winter, you're out there without shoes.
So if I wear shoes, no.
I want to tell you, the other day, a lady gave him a foot massage in Israel, and they're kind of treatment the people that came up there. And the lady come and say, Tony, you know, I was expecting a little more roughage. Yes!
You know what it is for a woman to be massaged in the foot? What, 2 o'clock in the morning? No, I don't want to. The girl like film foot was massaged.
Yeah, but it is nothing. It is nothing like what people might want to think. This is.
I think it. You can't want what people
but me, I don't care what people think. No, but listen, we'll make sure say it how it is.
No, but I massage we are talking about everything.
That is what I mean. Say.
They was giving us a reflexology.
Right. Definitely. Who is the company?
They was doing the reflexology. I don't want to feed.
Right.
You know, so I don't mind that. I love that, man. You know, see. And
no, you see the key for in Israel, offer a whole lot of things.
Yes.
Because them have sauna, everything out there.
Where the daughters them can go when them have pregnancy to make the pregnancy easier. Them have a certain exercise and all these things.
What about the moon hospital too?
Yeah, but we tried it. I mean, I don't know where we can go. You know who I go? Yeah. India. We want to go in Tibet, in the highest Himalaya mountain, the highest region of the world, Himalaya mountains. We want to go up there, so because we hear say some man up there walk on ice.
Yes, some man up there, the shamans.
Yeah, we say them man they walk on ice. We say, all right, because save them trying to move there, so no. Yeah, you know what? No, but yeah, we see it, you know, and we say, it just make us more into Africanness. And we would have like pass that on to the people that know something to think about. Israel is cut off from Africa by a man-made thing named the Suez Canal. But if you look on the word Suez, if you turn it the other way, you get Zeus, which is really the god of gods in the Greek mythology. No, we have to decipher these things. Why is it that they would have, what is the meaning of Suez? Is there the meaning to Suez? It's like when Lake him turn him name. Lake him name Michael James and him turn it around and call himself Lake him Simaj. Lake him Siraj is really Michael James turned backwards, you know. You know, see it? And this is done many times to cover up. You know, them use it as symbols to cover up. Them always turn around the word and make it feel say that different thing. But if you turn it back around, Swiss, you get Zeus. This is what separates what them call Asia Minor from Africa. But we now know through understanding the geography that this place that them call the Middle East or Asia Minor is really Northeast Africa. It's Northeast Africa that was inhabited by black people, just like how Egypt today is in Africa, and we were but we were led to believe that Egypt is somewhere unbelievable, somewhere out there, but Egypt is in Africa.
True.
We were taught, and we were thinking all the while that Ethiopia and Nubia is these places so far. Yes, still now plane, the eagle I carry go there. And I carry back. I will give thanks to the eagle too, you know. Yeah, man. Yeah, someone said, nah, flying a plane. You know, we are say, yeah, well, we were flying a plane. I'll come back and tell you.
Are you already? You have been flying it.
You have been flying in plane. You know, see, because if I never fly in a plane, I can just go and sing us and talk. But you see, through I did a travel now, I come firm up myself. You was strong.
Sure.
You know, see it. And I can, with authority, stand up in front of these guys and tell them, say, the whole of no, are liars and thieves and murderers who are raping black people mind for 2,000 years. And we not forgive you know. We not forgive you know, Rasta. That's why Bob Marley come sing some tune. I have to rethink Bob Marley tune, you know. Bob Marley say, I feel like bombing a church because I know that the preacher is lying. You think that just say, oh, that just mere just say?
Right.
It's look on the situation, and she say, for 500 years, the lie perpetuate. But we are now 2,000 years is the root of the lie. You know, see it? And the lie is involved in not wanting to accept our Africanness. You know, see it? We need to go forward to our African-centered perspectives. There's 53 countries in Africa.
I like that.
You know,
I always say 52. 53 is Israel. 53 is Israel.
We lose the levels. There is 53 countries in Israel, and all we need to do is look and observe the traditions of these people and know that these people have a root. The root, we are declare that the root of these people lies in East Africa. Where in East Africa, we are say between the place that is now called Ethiopia, Nubia. Ethiopia is landlocked by a place named Eritrea, which is still Ethiopia, at what you call the northeast section. And down at the bottom now, you have a place near like Somalia. And just right at that end, you have a place across the road named Yemen. And then you have Iraq. And then you have Israel. And going up the ladder, you have Lebanon, Syria, going right up Turkey. You see, we are saying that a lot of these areas, how we geographically look at it now is not how it was 3,000, 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. That's where it is still. We have said now that a man have to re-examine geographical locations. Geographical locations means that little place that now called Ethiopia was not just that little part, because Ethiopia did stretch even into Yemen, even into Nubia. The Nubians were seen as Ethiopians. You know, see? So now we have to get out of this mindset now where white people come and cut up Africa. Then them cut it up more even in a conference them called Berlin Conference. We were going to read something by King Leopold did say when they were going to the Congo. Or try to kill out the whole of black people then. But when you examine how them use the Berlin Conference to cut off Africa, and then now you have a little place now, you have Gambia in a Senegal. All them foolishness there, you know. One big country, you know, but a little part of the country is Gambia. You know, see, white people go to India, one part named Pakistan, one part named India, now you have Bangladesh. You know, see, them go now, them had looked out a road to India. And they end up in a northeast Africa and rest and try to colonize and then call it now the Middle East. Because this is where they must go. They must leaving from Europe, going to India, stopping at Israel, and then now say, boy, this is the middle, we're reaching our middle of a journey. So the political situation is the Middle East. We have to re-examine these things. We want to say, give thanks for the years, give thanks to the rebel. For evil come and we have a kind of bond between the two of us. No one say we never travel go America yet with each other. You know, we never really going to the Caribbean with each other yet. But two major places that we really hold dear in our Rastafari tribe is Mount Zion and Ethiopia. And I must say that we have been there. True. So final word to them, make we just give the Brazilian show.
Yes. Well, I say, as Muta said a while ago about the whole vibe, say Yemen did attach to Ethiopia. Remember, I say Queen of Sheba was a Yemenite, and she did go across there and deal with Solomon and the whole of the vibe. And it's a while. If 1865 the man them erect a Suez Canal and that separate Israel from a next African country, it goes to show that there is also Africa too, and these are the things where we have to search about and know. Right now, may I say African word, Abiyadama. It means return to our golden, majestic heritage. We know so the topic that we talk about tonight is a touchy one, as I said before. I reiterate the point. It's like, we know say people must let go where them are deal with. Me not really say that. Me not tell you for that. You must reassess where you are deal with and let it go yourself. No make nobody tell you to let it go. Because if you worship, you say you must worship in a spirit and truth. Now if lies is all about in what you are doing, then the consequence cannot be anything positive. Yeah, I mean, I hope the whole vibe was cogent enough for me to think. Bless.
Give thanks.
This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're going back, way back. And now we're going to present the interview that we did in Israel, Dimona, Israel, Hebrew Israelite spiritual leader, Benjamin, who passed away recently. A lot of people, well, once called me already and said, them never know. Well, now you know. So here goes. Why you listen to this interview carefully? Carefully.
This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. You know, for weeks now we have been promising you this interview that we did with Benjamin. Benjamin is the spiritual leader for the Hebrew Israelites in Dimona, Israel. And for those of you who have been listening to us, we did visit there, me and Tony Rebel, in May. We visited Dimona, and we had this extensive interview with Benjamin. We're going to play this interview that we did in Israel. In Israel, we were there in Dimona, I think 2.5 months ago, me and my brethren, Lalibela. We were there talking to Benjamin. Benjamin is a spiritual leader for the African Hebrew Israelites in Israel. I think it's about 3,000 strong, who has developed a community, a self-reliance community in Israel. You have heard us talk to some of their members when they visit Jamaica. We have developed a relationship and we were there with them. We visited what they call the Holy Land, you know, all the holy places. Yes, Mount Zion, Galilee, Jordan, Dead Sea, and all these things. So you will hear Mutabaruka interviewing Benjamin, and I know that is enough internet. The Bangkok right now. You think it's joke? It's enough internet the Bangkok, because this man is not a man who give out enough interviews. You understand? And when Mutabaruka can sit down for 2 hours and talk to Benjamin and make him tell you say he's the Lion of Judah. It's a serious interview. When you hear Mutabaruka get that out of him to make him declare say he's the Lion of Judah, you must know say it's a serious interview. So we want you to just sit in and listen to what this man has to say, that a lot of people in Israel see him as a Messiah. Yes. And not Messiah as the Western world teaches us, but a Messiah as given to the Judaism or the Hebrew way of thinking. You know, we have a different perspective of Messiah here. We think that Jesus is the only Messiah, but in the Hebrew thinking, that is not so. Yeah, a Mashiach is something to understand in the Hebrew way. So you will hear all about that. We want to present, as we say, an interview done in Israel this year in May. This interview was done by myself, and we interviewed Benjamin, anointed spiritual leader of the African Hebrew Israelites, right over there in Northeast Africa, Dimona. And I am here in Israel, in Dimona, with the head of the African Hebrew Israelites, Benjamin. As you all know, we have been interviewing some of the brethren in Jamaica since last year, and they have been coming to Jamaica. Now we find ourselves in Israel. Once I give thanks for being here and give thanks for the opportunity to interview Benjamin. Once the greetings to Benjamin. And it's really an honor to be here interviewing you in the place that is necessary, Israel.
Thank you. I'm honored to be able to provide this service and to be on this interview. And I would be remiss if I did not mention to the people of Jamaica, you know, the greatness of yourself as being a representative of our people there, and your dedication and your determination to try to bring redemption unto our people via the vehicle, truth.
I want to give thanks. Now, this is a program that you might have heard about. You know, it's the Cutting Edge. And it's a program that we usually interview people, but because we are not that, what you call the journalistic type, our way might look very unorthodox, may very look out of place, but you have to stay with us if it is kind of out of place, because we're just coming from, as ones in Jamaica, you know, man who is trying to just make the people understand things, so we don't have no specific way to ask things. This is just coming from us, how we do things. Alright, the first thing we really want to find out about is, who is Ben Amin?
Well, Ben Amin means the son of my people. And in 1966, in the month of February, I had a vision. And the angel Gabriel came to bring the word of God that it was time to start the journey back to the promised land and to establish the long-awaited kingdom of God. And the year of the Exodus would be 1967. At that time, Muta, certainly being in a Christian environment, I pondered myself as many prophets before me. Why me? And I considered that if, in fact, this was a vision from God, I thought that it was going to be a piece of cake. Certainly, I myself was to receive the worst whipping that I had ever received on this path. I listened and I pondered if I wanted to be ostracized, that I want to speak the words that the angel spoke unto me. I did not want to be incorrect. I did not want to mislead our people. But after much prayer and meditation, I did speak the words publicly before our people that 1967 would be the year of the Exodus. And as we recall, in the Americas at that time, after the words were spoken, we find that in 1966, the great riots began the length and breadth of America, because I wondered how was I to convince any significant number of our people to leave America in less than 1 year. But the riots came, and the riots assisted in creating the environment which would give the impetus for the Exodus in 1967. And in January of 1967, that was what was called the Great Snow. It was like the day the earth stood still. So with the help of Yah Yisrael, he created an environment which would give the impetus for the people to hear my message, and in fact, to cause me to succeed in leading our people out of America into the wilderness of Liberia in 1967. We sojourned there for approximately 2.5 years, and in March of 1970, we arrived in the Promised Land, and on the Day of Atonement, 1970, we declared the coming of the kingdom of God on this earth.
All right, three things happening here. You said you got a vision from Gabriel, and knowing that you said that you came up in a Christian environment. The first question is, as a Christian, how could you decipher that this was really a legitimate vision, and what form the vision took, and what were you doing at the time when this vision came to you?
Well, certainly at that time, I was in the initial stages of sharing the truth with our people. But certainly we had been influenced by our environment, and I certainly did not expect any vision. I, like Ezekiel or Moses, I felt that if, in fact, the angel had a message, it had to be for someone else. Possibly he had the wrong address. But nevertheless, in understanding, that if, in fact, that this was the message of Yah, and I did speak the words, that it would certainly have to come to pass. But I was reluctant because of the Christian environment in which I was familiar with.
So the Christian environment caused the doubt, or is the doubt the reason?
It caused the doubt. Because certainly that in the Christian religion, everything is centered around Jesus. I mean, that there can be no messenger, no redemptive message or anything, except that, in fact, that it would come through the imitative Eurocentric Jesus. And that had somewhat bound me, wherein I did not feel that I or anyone else could become the anointed of the Most Holy. So we find that according to the Euro-Gentile plan, they have used Jesus and the whole imitative concept to prevent our people from ever accepting redemption or a redeemer.
So, all right. So you decided to make the trip by yourself, or like you work in an organization that you were speaking to like young people, and then you decided that you gather up these people and just went to Liberia, or did this, like in terms of finance, and did this was structured in an organization? Because as young people, I would assume that you was a very young person at the time. Young people don't just get up and just travel to Africa. They must have some backing, some financial pooling. You know, there must have been some organization, or maybe it was just a rich man, I don't know.
As a matter of fact, I was very poor, as a matter of fact. But I was part of the Beta Israel Hebrew Culture Center. Okay. There was an organized structure. There were no finances. All of this is part of the great miracle. And it gives us the assurance that, in fact, the Holy One of Israel has been involved in this redemptive struggle. In the beginning, it was actually an impossible journey. It was literally impossible. We would have to leave America in 1967. We had an outer perimeter of time to sojourn in Liberia of 3.5 years, and then to journey on to be in Israel before the Day of Atonement, 1970. We were entering into a country with an annual average income of $100. We were not allowed to take jobs. We had to move into the interior of Liberia. And as I said, without the minute details, that it was literally, an impossible journey. But as we look back now, and we see how everything worked out, how the Holy One of Israel did assist in creating that environment. He did assist us in making the journey in Liberia. We were practically supposed to be stuck in Liberia. There was no practical way for us to get out. But we did sojourn there for approximately 2.5 years. And then we did find our way onto the promised land, Israel, in March of 1970.
How much was you talking about in Liberia?
2.5 years.
No, how much people?
We had approximately 400 individuals.
And how much went to Israel, came to Israel?
3/4 of them dropped out. Went back to America. Approximately 109 souls arrived total in Israel in 1970.
All right, so a group of black people now coming into Israel through the airport, that must have been something to see. Oh, I mean, because me and Tony just come through the airport, and it was like, you know, the Palestinians are coming out here. It's like, you know, it's just 2 Rastaman that enter Israel, and we went through such a search and antagonistic attitude. It's almost like it's an insecurity we see at the airport. Now 100 odd people, black people, are come through the airport in Israel.
Right.
What is describe that. Right. In that time too, because that time must have been worse than this time.
Extraordinary. Extraordinary. And to throw kerosene on the fire, we had informed them that we were not coming here to be part of the mainstream Israeli society. We were, in fact, can you imagine, Muda, coming out of the ghettos of America, coming into Israel and say, we've come here to get things straightened out. We've come here not to be part of mainstream society, but we have come to, in fact, establish the long-awaited kingdom of God. So you can understand that we did have problems.
Telling the Israelis this.
And telling the Israelis this, you know, that, in other words, with us, it was like, for us, it was like, unto them, it was the end of the imitative perception of Israelites. We proclaimed that we were descendants of the biblical Israelites. In fact, that we were returning home to our heritage.
This was in the airport.
This was in the airport and the days that followed. We were not accepted. That was not accepted. They tried to discourage us, certainly. They used the media to discourage others from following us here into the land also. And we waged almost a 25-year political struggle in Israel, very intense political struggle.
Yeah, what about the airport, like the day that you land in the airport? So the 100 people in the airport, they're going through your papers, trying to say, no, this can't work. You're telling them that you are a true Israelite. I mean, what is the perception here? I mean, there must be some phone call happening all over the place now. Everybody getting frantic. And 100 odd people at the airport saying that them is a true Israelites and thing. I mean,
see, there again is the beauty of the fulfillment of the words of the prophets. Had we have entered into that airport in that manner directly from America, they would have deported us. Mm-hmm. But we had sojourned in Liberia. Okay. So they saw it as being a small number, naturally only 109 individuals, and they felt that this was not part of any potential wave of others coming out of America. Okay. So this kind of gave them a level of comfort that, well, we're just talking about 109 individuals. Why should we take a chance on creating a storm in the midst of the African American population? So this is isolated. We will let them pass on through. But that's what happened. See, once we became settled in Israel, and our brothers and sisters begin to come directly from America. Mm-hmm. See, they recognized us. Mm-hmm. In the bottom line, they recognized us as Jews, Israelites, returning under the law, returned initially. Okay. So, but what happened is that when the brothers and sisters began to come directly from America, they figured they had opened a Pandora's box by giving the possibility of 30 million blacks in America arriving at the gates of Israel and declaring that they were Jews returning under the law return.
They offered citizenship before, or that was something that come after?
Right. Before we received recognition and citizenship initially as Jews returning under the law return, but those coming directly from America did not. In other words, that they all have to give support to the lies that they have created and they have manufactured and they have proliferated to the ends of this earth. And we will find they're all confederate against truth, and they all are in harmony in order to prevent our people, rejection from being proliferated in the midst of our people, and from the truth from ever gaining roots in the midst of our people. We receive all of the benefits, the political benefits, medical services, and ability to work, but it gives us more latitude to share our positions with the citizens of Israel, and that's more important with us, with the people of Israel, and also to our people to the ends of the earth. Prior to 1990, there's one very important aspect of that I did not articulate, and that is that we had all renounced our American citizenship. In the course of the struggle, in the redemptive struggle, for recognition here in Israel, all of us renounced our American citizenship because there were the threats of deportation. There were deportations. It was a very intensive struggle. And subsequently in 1990, in the course of the agreement, we had to receive documentation again in order to be registered even as temporary residents. They restored our American citizenship. They gave us documentation so that we could be registered as temporary residents at that time. So that gave us much more latitude, because that meant prior to that, that I was not out of Israel for 23 years. I was like on country arrest. I could not move to and fro. So according to the will of Yah Yisrael, that gave us great latitude. That meant that the sons could go in and out. I could move in and out, and we could begin to expand this doctrine. We could begin to hurl this doctrine more intensely in the midst of our people to the ends of the earth.
All right. So we'll talk about doctrine. All right. The doctrine. What is the doctrine?
The doctrine is, in fact, based upon truth, that our people must go back and revisit the Bible from Genesis to Malachi. The great deception that has been wrought in the midst of our people has them walking contrary to the will and the way of Yah Yisrael. You see, the cornerstone of Eurocentric theological institutions is that the Old Testament has been fulfilled. But the redemption and the strength of our people lies within the fact that we must go back to the words of the law and the inspired prophets of Israel. You cannot find redemption for our people reading the Bible from Matthew to Revelation. So let us consider how the conspiracy has worked. So then we take the Bible and we find Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Philip, Titus, Stephen, Paul. Now, when you hear all of these names, do you think African? Or do you think European?
Definitely.
You think European. So subsequently, when you read the Bible from Matthew to Revelation, you are automatically influenced to feel that these are European people. no one receives the impression of, or he conceptualized an African name, Paul or Philip or Titus. I mean, these are all Greco-Roman names. So subsequently, once they removed the access to the Old Testament and they allowed our people just to read the New Testament, they could bring them under the influence of feeling that the Israelites were in fact Europeans.
All right, so if all right, you said from Genesis to Malachi, so what about Genesis to Revelation? It sounds like you're cutting off the Bible at Malachi and ruling out what they call Matthew to Revelation.
Right, absolutely. You see, you can read the New Testament as you read any other book. See, we do not tell anyone, well, do not read a book written by Malcolm or etc. You can read them in search of good information, quotations, statistics, but it is not redemptive. For redemption of our people, the Bible from Genesis to Malachi is the redemptive source of strength for our people. So now what we must do is we go back to the words attributed to Yeshua. He said, search the scriptures. We must understand there was no New Testament for the first 300 years of what they call miscalling now, I think, for a misconception of what is called Christianity. There was no New Testament. That all of those individuals were simply messianic. They simply believed, there were those that believed that Yeshua was the Messiah and those that didn't believe that he was the Messiah. There was no Christianity in the midst of our people. There was no teaching of Christianity at that time in the midst of our people. They were all using the same Bible. They all had the same high holy days. They all were celebrating the same Sabbath day. It was only after Constantine declared Christianity to be the religion of Rome that they began to add all of the pagan customs and traditions into and to fashion what is now called Christianity. Christianity, contemporary Christianity, its origin is not the Holy Land. Its origin is in Rome. So now we go back. The words attributed to Yeshua, he said, search the scriptures. We find in the book of St. John, the 5th chapter, in the 39th verse, it says, search the scriptures, for in them you feel that you have everlasting life, for it is in them that it is written of me. Why did he make this statement? Because there were people questioning if he was not. And he was referring them back to what I call the mold. The prophets of Israel provide the mold for all anointed personages. If you do not fit that mold, then you are not anointed. You cannot be anointed. You must fit the prophetic mold. So he was simply saying that search the scriptures and see if I, in fact, fit the prophetic mold. Now, what were the scriptures at that time? There was no Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. He was telling them to search the scriptures, and the only scriptures at that time was the Bible from Genesis to Malachi.
So how do we attribute that saying to Yeshua when it is coming out of the New Testament?
See, but what they did is that they took an individual. Yeshua was an actual Hebrew personage, an anointed personage, and there was nothing mysterious about him. And they took many of the things from his life and his customs, and they fashioned an imitation of Yeshua, and they called him Jesus. So they took many of the things, many of the quotes from Yeshua, many of the things from his life, and they embellished these things with Greco-Roman doctrine to create a Greco-Roman savior. You see, any people that are in the state of a rise or people that are in the state of demise, there's something that we must understand about the God aspect. No great anti-God civilization would find itself in a state of upliftment and he have a God that is not of him. I mean, it would be contrary to purpose. So with the rise of the European civilization, it also caused the rise of a European God. They fashioned a God in their image and in their likeness, and that's Jesus. But Yeshua was African Edenic. He was an African individual, and the ancient Israelites were African Edenic people.
All right, I'll come back to the Yeshua versus the Jesus, especially with the book that you have, because that is a book that we have been selling in Jamaica for years. This is even one of the things why I feel good to know that I could meet the author of the book, not even the Messiah, but the author of the book. It's very important. But we're going back to like Genesis, Malachi. All right, you talk about the authenticity of the book, but you relate to the macho, to Revelation, as mere fabrication, that of it is fabrication. How do we decipher? Is there any fabrication? Is there any Greek influence, as far as you can say, in Genesis to Malachi?
If you do not understand the Hebrew language, you will find some misinterpretations if you're going according to the Greco language interpretations of the Bible from Genesis to Malachi. It is for that reason that Yah Yisrael has provided Hebrew African Edenic scholars that can decipher those things and to give our people access to the truth as it was written by the ancient prophets. You see, that I would not advise our people to put their confidence in the translations of Euro Gentiles. And it is for that reason that we're back here in the Holy Land at this time, that we are fluent in Hebrew, we can read the Hebrew scriptures, and we can decipher those hidden truths, and then to share them with our people. You see, we're not just teaching a doctrine, we're teaching what is called, in English we're speaking, but it is Hebraic thought. It is based upon the things that were not so much that were written, but the things that were meant, and the feelings and the similitudes of the hearts and the messages of the ancient prophets.
So you're saying that the Bible that the Western world has, because it is written in English, coming from a Greek translation, we get tricked. I mean, millions of people reading this thing in the West, and because them don't know Hebrew, they wouldn't get a clear understanding of the Genesis to Malachi.
The Genesis to Malachi, the books were written in Hebrew, but from Matthew to Revelation, they were written in Greek.
Genesis, no, I know, but it was translated to Greek.
It was translated into Septuagint, right, into Greek.
So that's it.
Not necessarily from Greek, it was translated to Greek, but also they translated the Hebrew into English.
Yeah, so you're saying now that to get a clear understanding of this book, you would have to know the Hebrew tongue. So the people in the West who is reading this English translation, are you saying that they might not get a clear understanding of what they are dealing with in terms of the salvation or the message that is supposed to be in the Hebrew version?
Absolutely. That is why it is written in the book of Isaiah in the 2nd chapter that in the last days that the law, Torah means Toreh. It is built from the Hebrew Toreh. It is built from the Hebrew Moreh. When you hear us use the term that Moses was the great lawgiver, in Hebrew it simply means he was the great teacher. He was the great instructor. But you can't come up with that understanding, in the English language. But in the Hebrew, it's simply Moses was the great teacher. He was the great instructor. And from that we structure Torah, which is from Torah, or you shall instruct. So definitely, that is why the kingdom of Yah had to come. That is why there had to be anointed personages. And anointed personages are simply the authority, the teaching authority of Yah Yisrael on this earth. The teaching authority had to be removed from Rome, from Canterbury, from America, and it had to be returned to African Edenic people. Our people must know. And I don't say this from the vantage point of race, I say it from the vantage point of truth, that the Redeemer for our people, that he would have to be of African Edenic stock, that the redemption of our people will not come out of Rome, it will not come out of Canterbury, and it will not come out of America. It is for that reason that the Holy One of Israel has guided us back here and given us these skills and talents so that we can read the scriptures and to be certain that in this day and time our people are being exposed to truth, because as Yeshua said that you must know the truth and the truth will set you free.
All right. I'm hearing people listening to this now and they're saying, is this man trying to say that my grandmother was reading this thing on her veranda before I born, and her grandmother reading this thing before I born, because she never know Hebrew language? She's now dead, and her grandmother dead, and they die with this lie in them, and still there's no redemption of their soul within the kingdom, not because of their problem, but because of a mistranslation that took place in the Bible. That is what the question would be.
You it's not so much just a mistranslation and it was a misconception. It was purposefully deception that was being proliferated in the midst of our people. We find in the last year, and certainly I know it has reached the press in Jamaica, that the Pope of Rome has said that there is no literal heaven and hell. So now where is grandmother, and grandfather? So now all of those, and first of all, I would ask them to deal with him. Go and challenge the Pope of Rome, because he is the one that we never promised anyone that they were going to another heaven or another hell. That is very deceptive. But the Pope, the Catholics, the Christians, the religionists have promised that you die and you go to heaven. You see, and again, that is deception. So we must go back now. Why have they continued to proliferate such a lie? Simply because from the beginning, Muta, that when Adam was created, he was placed on this earth in paradise. That's the only paradise that we were ever introduced to by God. We know of no other paradise. Subsequently, we see that hell is being proliferated all over this planet. The great struggle between the sons and daughters of light and the sons and daughters of darkness must take place on this earth. But our people now have been taught to leave things as they are on this earth, and you journey on to a paradise somewhere beyond the clouds. But that's a cop-out. That Yah does not need our people up in heaven. Everything is in order in heaven. The hell is being raised here on this earth. We must challenge the forces of evil on this earth and to return this earth back to its former state of being a paradise. So all of those things were lies. So we go back now and consider that we now are hurling the truth in the midst of our people. Where is heaven? Heaven is a high, elevated state of mind. And where is hell? It is an existence beneath the underworld, the lower world, in a state of existence without God. So now this is what we've always said, but the religionists have said that that wasn't true. But now they're saying that, in fact, that is heaven and hell. It is true. So if there's any blame for where grandmother is or grandfather is, I would like them to blame the Pope of Rome and now to come unto us. It would seem that you would think that there would be a great falling away after such lies. I mean, of such a magnitude. Why would our people continue to follow such a religion? Individuals that they've been lying now for 2,000 years. But there hasn't been any falling away, because that's religion. Once you become religious, you simply adhere to those traditions. Religion is not redemptive.
All right. I have been in Jamaica, and we have been, there's a thing in Jamaica amongst the young races where the statement, born Jesus. I don't know if you're familiar with that statement. In Jamaica, there is this born Jesus, meaning burn Jesus. There's a lot of youths out there who feel that Jesus, them find the worst things to say about Jesus. We get to understand through study that Michelangelo gave us a painting, and we adapt this painting, and now we have this imagery of Jesus. Now, we hear now the version that was in Jamaica from this Israel here. They came and they gave a seminar talking anti-Jesus Christ. It's like against Jesus Christ. They said Jesus Christ is fabrication. We have been saying that for years on the radio. I have gotten a copy of your book saying about the Hebrew Messiah and the Christian Christ. We want to talk about that, because this seems to be a subject that, until you start to touch on that, people tend to get very emotional. I have gone through a lot of fire for just on the radio. I said, as a matter of fact, I come out bluntly. There's a brother in Jamaica, a theologian. We clash on the radio, and he's saying that when I said there was no Jesus Christ, he's saying that the translation of Yahushua is Jesus. And I am saying, no, it's not the translation. Because if it was the translation, then the image will be the same. It's just the name will be translated.
That aspect of the interview, you're listening to an interview that was done in Israel, and we're talking to the spiritual leader of the African Hebrew Israelites who find themselves in the Mona. This Brethren Benjamin passed away week before last. So we just feel that we should really give you a little vibes of the thinking and the belief of these Hebrew Israelites. And if you hear about them again, you can say, but wait, I didn't hear about them brethren there, because they are all over the place. They are in Africa, they are in Atlanta, they have restaurants, vegetarian restaurants. In Atlanta, they have vegetarian restaurants in Ghana, in South Africa, and they have a big community in the Mona, Israel. The time is 12 o'clock.
Get a different, if you get a translation and you get a different name, you get a different image, it couldn't be the same person. You wrote a book about the Hebrew Messiah. Would I like you just in details, just carry down the line. Why not Jesus Christ? Why Yeshua? You know, how did this thinking come about in your estimation of this Jesus Christ? Where did this thing originate from? And upon those Greek, but even the name itself, knowing that it is not a translation of Yeshua. A whole heap of people would like to know this. You know, anytime we say it come like it's we saying it. But, you know, if somebody in Israel is saying it, and as we said before, we are talking from Israel, not in Jamaica. Maybe one day we will get Benjamin to come to Jamaica, but right now we are talking from Israel. We want Benjamin to explain to the Jamaican people, why is he not saying that Jesus is the translation of Yeshua? And why is it different? Jesus Christ is different. In other words, to me, Benjamin and the African Hebrew Israelites is giving credence to the races in Jamaica that is saying born Jesus.
See, that's what this great redemptive struggle, Muta, is all about. It's not an easy position. Truth now, after 2,000 years of lies, it's not an easy position, simply because we're sensitive to the feelings of our people. We do not want to offend them. But if there was another way, we would have chosen that way. But we must tell them the truth. First of all, Christos is Greek. I mean, this isn't my determination. They can simply go to their dictionaries. Christos is Greek. And Jesus is Latin. Now, so that means that Jesus Christ is a Greco-Roman name. Historically, could you imagine the Holy One of Israel referring to, if you know the history of the Greeks and the Romans in the Middle East and Israel, our people, you know, they were the most oppressive, the most destructive regimes to have ever come into the Middle East. They killed our people by the hundreds of thousands. Now, can you imagine me calling my Savior and speaking to him in Greek? I mean, it would defy logic. And in Latin, and then to go along with that, the largest bodies of Christianity today, the Roman Catholic Church with 1 billion followers in Christianity, and the Greek Orthodox Church with approximately 400 million. So we're talking about over half of the Earth's, almost 2/3 of the Earth's Christian population now are part of those two bodies. So now, you consider a Hebrew Messiah, his chief representatives today are Greeks and Romans. It would defy logic. Certainly it would defy logic. So when we just consider, you know, those aspects, historical aspects, the Holy One of Israel has said to be circumspect, you know, as how we relate to saviors, messiahs. So we go back now, historically, why did the Greeks and Romans have to defile, you know, the position of Yeshua? Because they were trying to fashion something that would be accepted in their societies. And it is for that reason that our people do not celebrate Passover, but they celebrate Christmas today. Christian is a pagan holiday. We find it written in Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. They've always celebrated Christmas, but they had to cut our people off from access. In order to do this, they had to paint a picture of a European savior. Now, all over the world today, we find that God knows everything. God provides everything. No one can defeat God. God teaches you everything. And you look up and see that image. What are they saying? They're not about to say that Mutabaruka, you know, in representing God, teaches everything, knows everything. No one can defeat him. So we see an image of the undefeatable European. this is why the image of Christ is there. That picture is doing much more. It's much more than a picture. It's creating a character within our people, a character to what? To fear. To fear, to ever challenge. Because if you challenge the European, you're challenging God. No, and God provides everything. God is the source of everything. So the conspiracy is much deeper than just a picture of the European. There's the ramifications go far, far beyond just that image. So today, for example, when you mentioned that about burn Jesus, individuals get nervous when you say that. I mean that they get nervous, and then you hear individuals say that race doesn't matter. You know, why are you trying to make Yeshua make the Israelites black, you know? But race has always mattered. You know, I mean, color has always mattered. That's why we had the white European Jesus Christ, because it mattered. If it mattered, what was the purpose? Okay, then let us now proliferate, you know. Why didn't they proliferate the truth? An African Edenic Hebrew Messiah. But they've had an objective to create, to instill, to implant in the minds of our people that the Europeans are in fact, not just Jesus, the Europeans are in fact the representatives of God on this earth.
And what people will say to you that even though they change the name and the image, but the message of the New Testament remains the same. It is expounding to the people. You can still follow that and still get redemption through faith and works, and you know, the blood of Jesus, and you know, and the resurrection. All of these things combined in Christianity. People will tell you that this can help. It has been helping.
No, but it has not. That you cannot find redemption from Matthew to Revelation. Now, we go back now to the words of the inspired prophets of Israel. We find that the cornerstone of Eurocentric theological institutions is that the law is no more. The law is no more. That you live by grace now, you know. But let us consider, what is law? Law is in fact simply the instructions, what is allowed, what you're allowed to do, what you are not allowed to do, and possible punishments for violations. That's all the law is. It is to define for you the things that you can do, you can't do, and possible punishments for violations. In Britain, they have law. Britain is governed by law. That means the British, when you go there, Muta, they tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and possible punishments for violations. In France, they have law. In Belgium, they have law. In America, they have law. So the Americans, the Belgians, the Germans, the French are allowed to tell you what you can do and you can't do, and the punishments for violation. But when I mention God, now can you imagine? The law is no more. What do you mean? God is no longer allowed,
that's a true fear,
right, to tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and possible punishments for violation. Law is God. So, in fact, that you must understand that grace, I mean, that you must go back. It's faith and works. No prophet of the Most Holy has ever told the people that your works no longer consider. Well, let us consider then, if works are no longer important, in what aspect of life is deeds not important? But in all of this world, to get a promotion on your job, you know, it requires works. You know, to move up the corridor of promotions in the political arena, it requires works. But when it comes to pleasing God, somebody's telling you it doesn't matter. That's a lie. I mean, that's one of the greatest lies that has ever been told. And together with that, when you come out of the New Testament, Sunday, the first day, is the Sabbath day. And they say it is the Lord's day. It is a lie. We go back now to the commandment, you know, that we find that it is written in the fourth commandment that consider, you know, and keep holy the Sabbath day. For it is the Sabbath of the Lord. We already had a Lord's day. It is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Then who is the Lord of the Sunday then? When you come out of the New Testament, you are in fact acknowledging Sunday as the Sabbath day, and you no longer acknowledge the seventh day Sabbath. And all of these things are badges of identity with a God. There are certain things that you must do in order to identify with Yah Yisrael, and there are things that you do that identify with his opponent, with his adversary. So salvation cannot be found. There are some good things that were written, because some of the things were actually stated by Yeshua. But how will we be able to differentiate between the words of Yeshua and the fabrications? That's why we must go back. That's why he said, search the scriptures. We must be able to verify it in the law and the words of the inspired prophets. If it cannot be verified, if it does not fit the mold of the prophets, then you can cast it aside. It is not of God, neither is it redemptive.
All right. In the New Testament, it is written that Yeshua,
not what goeth into a man that defileth a man, but what cometh out of a man that defileth a man. So that is simply to give us direction as we assault upon the effects. What is it that is causing the evil to be proliferated in the midst of our people? So then he's saying that, in other words, that if I see an individual eating pork, he said, it is not what goes into the man, and I would go there and I would take that plate and throw the pork aside. I haven't solved the problem. It is not what goeth into a man that defileth this individual. It is this mind that made him eat the pork. Throwing his plate away won't affect anything. I must change his mind. It is not what goeth into an individual. So they have used that to say that, oh, you can eat anything. Wait a minute. That he was simply saying that if I want to solve the problem of the pork, I've got to go after his mind.
It sounds ridiculous to me to say that, because I know what goes into you can kill you too.
Right.
That thing's going to can kill you. But the people, I am always saying that a lot of people take Christ as Jesus' surname. So anytime you refer to Christ, people think directly on Jesus. Now, in our translation, or in the people's translation of Christ, it translates Messiah, right? I am now realizing that this is not so. But let us say that Jesus is the Messiah, or Yeshua is the Messiah. People is saying the Messiah, and saying that Messiah is only linked to Jesus. So you can't have any more Messiah. Is only one Messiah, and is the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that is going to redeem you. We read in the so-called Old Testament that anointed is not necessarily one individual, but more than one can be anointed. So David was anointed, will make him a Messiah. And going down the line, Messiahs seem to be something frightening. When you start to talk about Messiahs, people get scared of that word, because it is always identifiable with this one man named Jesus. You deal with that, because you have the Hebrew Messiah. So obviously you are relating now to Yeshua. But then now that would give credence to Yeshua being the Messiah. Are you saying that Yeshua is the Messiah? Or Yeshua is one of the Messiahs in Israel?
Yeshua was simply an anointed personage. And an anointed personage is simply one that is brought directly under the command of Yah. There's nothing mysterious about it. In the days of our fathers, the kings were messiahs. The priests were messiahs. The prophets were messiahs. It wasn't mysterious. It was simply because these individuals represented Yah Yisrael on this earth. It is only after the proliferation of Christianity that it took on all of these mysterious connotations. And it became this one individual. And really, most of the people don't really know what they're expecting. I mean, they keep saying Jesus Christ, and they're waiting for Jesus. What are they saying? I mean, they know not what they worship or what it is that they're waiting for. So we go back now and consider that this is a spirit. These individuals are simply spiritual individuals. We will find that the ancient prophets, it is written in the scriptures that the ancient prophets were before the world was. We find that in the book, the first chapter of Jeremiah, we find that it is written, it says that the Creator said that he knew Jeremiah before he was in the womb. So what is this? Jeremiah is a spirit. Where was Jeremiah? He was simply a spirit.
Well, Yeshua did say, before Abraham was I am. So,
and just like the rest of the prophets, these are spirits, that ancient spirits that were there all the time, and that have come down. Where was Adam before he was placed on the earth? Adam had to be a spirit. It wasn't anything that just came to mind of the Creator. Adam, before he was created and made and placed on the earth. So let us consider Adam then, when we're talking about Jesus and the great lies that are being proliferated around the individual like that have been fabricated. So now, when Adam was created and placed upon this earth, he was the incarnation of who on this earth? So without you reading the Bible from Genesis to Malachi, individuals are quick to say that this was God and man coming down to earth. Jesus was God and man, coming down to earth. And everybody acts as if this is something extraordinary. Well, what was Adam? Adam was not God and man coming down. Who was Adam? He was the incarnation of who? Adam said he breathed the breath of life into Adam, and Adam became a living soul. I mean, whose breath? I mean, the breath of life was who? It was the life of his Creator. Adam was, in fact, the incarnation of God, the first incarnation of God on this earth. Most of the things that they have used in the proliferation of Christianity are things that are imitations of things that existed prior to the coming of Christianity, and they've used these things and authenticated them so that we would not go in search of the originals. So now, who knows that Adam was, in fact, God coming down to earth in man? In Adam. It didn't begin in the book of Matthew. So we go now and we consider, with Jesus and this proliferation and the lies that are being proliferated around this individual now. This is a spirit. Let us go back. We find that in the book of St. John, it says that God is a spirit. God is a spirit. Now, can anyone be more than a spirit then? I mean, if Jesus was an individual, could he be more than a spirit? More than God? If God is a spirit, no man could be more than that. He would have to, if anything, he would be less than that. So, his spirit, Isaiah, was a spirit. When they inquired as to who Yeshua was, he asked the people, who does everyone say that I am? And they said that you're Jeremiah, or Isaiah, or who? Or one of the prophets. How did they know? How would they? Jeremiah was supposed to be dead.
Flesh and blood did not reveal that to you.
Flesh and blood did not reveal. It was the Spirit that revealed that unto them. And it is the same thing in this day. That those individuals were spirits. Spirits that continue to come in certain generations. Spirits that come and that are brought forth in the midst of our people to bring unto them a redemptive message. The Jesus myth has been placed there so that our people would not ever recognize their Savior and their Redeemer. Simply because they figure that if his name isn't Jesus, they think that somebody is coming whose name is going to be Jesus and tell them, I'm Jesus. That it's not going to be, Muta. That's a lie.
So you're saying that Yeshua is dead, but his spirit will be manifested in our next Messiah.
Absolutely. Okay. The next one will have the same spirit. That my words are no different than Yeshua's. That Yeshua, his words are no different from the prophet Isaiah. And his words are no different if Noah was teaching. We've all had the same spirit. The one spirit. The flesh profiteth nothing. And the people then if the people were looking for salvation, there is something that they should be trying to hear. Not to see with their eyes. There is a message that would be the redemptive message. And when this message begins to come forth, they would know this is the same. This is the same spirit.
The virgin them relate to the man as a Messiah. Rastafarians in Jamaica has recognized the lineage of Solomon and Sheba and has come up with Haile Selassie as the Lion of Judah. Today I was hearing you reading, drawing references to different aspects of the Bible, and you was reading Revelation 5, and you talk, and in the Bible it says, you was talking about the book, and no one on earth or on the earth could open this book, but there was this one. So weep not, the only Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David has prevailed to open the book and to lose the seal. How would Benjamin interpret that verse?
See, there first we must go back. See, even the book if you do not read the Bible from Genesis to Malachi, they won't even know to what that is relating. It is simply quoting the words spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Daniel sealed the book in the 12th chapter, in the 4th and the 8th and 9th verse. Daniel said that the book would be sealed until the end of the prophetic famine. So, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has been Yeshua was the Lion of the tribe of Judah. You know, this is a spirit. And the Emperor Haile Selassie that sit on the throne of Israel until the coming of the kingdom of Yah. He was a spirit that we must move beyond these individuals clinging to the flesh.
So could you look at one, suppose somebody would look on like Nelson Mandela, for instance, or what people recognize Mandela as one of the saviors of our times. Would you be justified in saying that he was the Lion of Judah? Is the Lion of Judah a symbol of something definite coming from that Davidic line?
It is simply, you must be from the Davidic line. That's well, to be the Lion of the tribe of Judah. No, but I could not relate to Nelson Mandela, as being a Lion of the tribe of Judah, simply because of the message. See, this is not easy because many of these individuals that we greatly respect, but we respect them within the categories that they fit within. You see, but we cannot pull Nelson Mandela and make him a Messiah, simply because that Nelson Mandela, matter of fact, he said himself that he's not a Messiah. And Nelson Mandela did not go back to cause the resurrection of the words of the ancient prophets. We will know, first of all, there are credentials, that must be in place in order to identify an anointed of the Most Holy. First of all, if it would come in our generations, they would have to resurrect the words of the law and the inspired prophets of Israel. So, when we see that the Lion of the tribe of Judah, we go back now. We see who opened the book. Did the emperor open the book, in fact? So, and I'm not saying because that was not his portion. His portion was simply to hold, the seat, the throne of Israel until things would shift back to the Holy Land. And he did that. So then, now, once the book was opened, there was another sequence of events that had to take place. Once the book was opened, it says you must do what? Establish the kingdom of Yah. Instructions would come forth. And the kingdom of Yah would be established where? And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the house of Yah shall be established in the top of the mountains. And the law shall go forth from Zion and the word of God from Jerusalem. He would not just establish a kingdom in Chicago, in Atlanta. If he established and said the kingdom had come to Chicago, cast it aside. Don't fear it. Because it has to fit the prophetic mold. So then, when the next king would come, spiritual king again, that he would know that his instruction, that he would have to open the book. That wasn't the calling of the emperor. The emperor was an anointed personage, but that was not his calling. That was not, it was not the calling of Isaiah to establish the kingdom. All of these men have a calling according to the season that they are called in. In this season, the coming of the kingdom of Yah, the book had to be opened. Because it is time now, it is the end of the captivity.
The book open?
The book now is open. The famine has ended.
All right, so which one of the Lion of Judah's opened the book? Because if all of them was Lion of Judah's coming through, which one of the Lion of Judah's opened the book?
Well, that really is a complicated question only because it puts me in a predicament of speaking first person, and that but since the question was posed, I must say, that the book was opened in the days of the kingdom of Yah, by the one that was called out of America. It says that the Lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed to open the book. That means that spirit has prevailed because they've tried to destroy that spirit. And that spirit was the one that would have to establish the kingdom of Yah on this earth.
Yeah, but the spirit must dwell within a man.
Absolutely.
So who is that Lion of Judah? That's what we're talking about now. If the Lion there's 225 Lion of Judahs, and more than 225. Okay, if we count Solomon and we count David, we recognize David as also the Lion of Judah. So if there is so much Lion of Judah coming through to Haile Selassie, And we are saying that, at least you are saying that, that was not Haile Selassie's calling to open the book. Because we still never talk about what is this book that you talk about. But coming based upon what you were speaking today, you were saying that the Genesis to the Malachi is that book. And it was closed. This is the famine. So now there is this Lion of Judah that is going to open this book. Now I am asking Benjamin, which one of these Lion of Judah? Because I only know, this is coming from Jamaica, I only know the Lion of Judah from David lineage, physical David lineage. And then that spirit, which is made manifest in the opening of the book in Revelation 5, is made manifest through an individual. So I am asking now, who is that individual that is today must be recognized or is recognized as the Lion of Judah that opened the book?
In this day and time, the establishing of the kingdom of God, I sit upon the throne of David.
Okay.
And I am the one that opened the book that was written in the book of Revelation in the 5th chapter and the 5th verse.
All right. So now we would have to ask the next question now. You wouldn't recognize the line of the root of David as a physical genealogy.
It is a physical and a spiritual genealogy. I am of the tribe of Judah and of the root of David.
Spiritually or physically?
Spiritually and physically.
All right. How would trace that genealogy from Benjamin to David? Explain that to Jamaica.
That you must identify the man by the works. How do you identify a carpenter? You know,
yeah, but you say carpenter don't have to come from the line of Judah to be a carpenter, from David to be a carpenter.
But the works of those that individual that is of the tribe of David, you know, the root of David and of the tribe of Judah, there are certain things that he must do. So when we consider now that what was the Lion of the tribe of Judah to do? He was to open the book. And after the book was opened, he was to do what? Daniel, the 2nd chapter and the 44th verse. He was to establish the kingdom of Yah on this earth. And he was to make war against the lies that are holding our people in captivity. So, today that you are sitting here in a community, and this community spiritually is called the kingdom of God. Yeah. This is that kingdom that has come as a result of the book being opened. It could only come on this earth if the book has in fact been opened. Yeah. So that means spiritually that as the Emperor Haile Selassie, as he was transformed and made transition, but the seat simply moved back to Jerusalem. And at this time, in all humility, and this is not my best portion talking in first person, but I now sit upon the throne of David as the spiritual throne of David.
I'm asking now about the identification of that genealogy, just like how we trace Haile Selassie's genealogy through to Solomon and Sheba, just like how we trace Yahshua genealogy either through Nathan, through the woman, and reach to Jesse. Now, I'm just asking now for clarification to the Jamaican people. If it is declared that Benjamin is physically related to David, how did Benjamin do like a roots thing that go back to his roots, like Alex Haley, and he traces that man to that man to that man? How did Benjamin come to that genealogical, physical relationship with David? Because we understand the spirit. Because we as Rastas has always accepted Judah because of the Lion of Judah. We have recognized that the Lion of Judah, if you are following Judah, the Messiah, you must be from the tribe of Judah spiritually. But there is a ethnicity that is involved here that we cannot just say that because we have that spirit, we are also physically that. Because the Jews is claiming to be Jews spiritual. I mean, these people who say they are Israeli is claiming to be Jews, and we know that physically they are really Russians and Germans. So we say now, if Benjamin is saying that he's spiritually from that thinking, how does a Jamaican now, who is embedded in this talk of a genealogy, how would he trace Benjamin's genealogy to David?
We would go back, first of all, to the fact that it is the spirit that quickeneth now. And all that you would do if you wanted to trace my genealogy back, you would use the same genealogy that you've used for the Emperor Haile Selassie and only move from him to me. So in other words, take me and simply go back to Haile Selassie because I'm of the same root. I'm of the same lineage. You would not have to go now and take me all the way back by my name. I have simply come out of the same root as the next one to sit upon the same throne.
So you are a physical grandson? I mean, I don't understand. You see, because I know, like Haile Selassie says, that his descendant is the next one to sit up on the throne, which was Asfa Hussein. Asfa Hussein died. And then his successor, which is Zara Yaakov, is there now. So by law, it would be the next in line of his grandsons, physically. We're not talking about spirit, no, physically. I don't understand. I mean, that would need some clarification to the Jamaican people to appreciate this line of Judah concept that is placed on then, I mean, I don't understand it.
It would, but one thing that we must do, we must continue to go back to re-emphasize, first of all, the Emperor Haile Selassie has made transition. He could only make transition. The throne could never be empty, remember. So if Emperor Haile Selassie has made transition, who is on the throne today? There could never be an empty throne. And in this day and time, we must remember now, as we go back to the words of the prophet Isaiah, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the throne of Israel will be shifted back to the Holy Land, back to Israel. My genealogy is a spiritual genealogy, but it would go along the same lineage. If you would take Haile Selassie, if he could trace his genealogy back to the tribe of Judah, you would simply could use the same genealogy because I am simply the next one that to sit upon the throne of David and with the coming of the kingdom of Yah. But as far as me going now and taking by my name, remember now, if we had have taken, if Yeshua said, and he looked and he said that this is Elijah, but his name was John. He said, but this is Elijah that was to come. So if we would try to go back now, which name would we use in order to find the lineage? He said, now, this is Elijah. Elijah was of the tribe of Judah also. How would we find? Would we go back through John? These are spiritual men. And it's at this time that we must move beyond the physical. And we must understand that it is the spiritual that quicken. It is the spirit that quicken it. The flesh no longer profits anything. Those physical descendants of the Emperor Haile Selassie, that is insignificant now. It is the spiritual king. You see, I will never wear a crown upon my head.
We're not talking about a crown or a physical throne here. We're just trying to get the physical relationship with the Davidic line. Because see, even in the New Testament, it says God should not, men and brethren, let me speak to after patriarch David, that is both dead and buried, and it's the Polka is with us unto this day, knowing that God has sworn with an oath that he would not lack a man to sit up on the throne of David. But this man, according to the Bible, would take that genealogy where you, like in Luke, where they trace the genealogy from Jesse, from Adam, right through to Mary, and they say that Christ, Yeshua, was coming from the son of Nathan, and even Matthew, which is tracing the lineage of Joseph, that is talking about the lineage of Solomon, to identify how the scepter is placed in Judah, physical Judah we're talking about now. So what we have here now is the justification for the physical Judah in a genealogy that is not cut off. So this is how we're now going to identify, at least that is our perception, that we are going to identify the line of Judah now through a genealogy. Not saying that all the people in that genealogy are messiahs, but through the works of an individual in that genealogy that you will identify the Messiah. So we are identifying the Messiah now, coming through the genealogy of David, physical genealogy, but by the works of this individual through that genealogy, you will recognize the Messiah in that individual. So we would not look now on a white man to possess that genealogy, even though he might have the work, the spirit. But there's something about connecting the spirit and the flesh. So you can't just come now and say, through your works alone, you would be accepted as the Messiah. But there's something intrinsically, there's a relationship that we search for in the black man. Yahshua is a black man, not because his flesh is important, but it is very important to understand that the Messiah would come through physically a black man. So we would look through a white man or a Chinese man for that Savior, that Messiah. See? So the argument is not about being the Messiah. The argument about is how do we grasp the genealogy to really justify the Davidic lineage, the Solomon, the root of David. Because to me the root meaning that you can trace the tree. You have the fruit, you have the leaves, you have the trunk, and it comes to the root. It's connected. Alright, so I am saying now that there must be some physical connection, not to the spirit, because the spirit is the spirit. The spirit can take any form. But in order for us to identify that spirit, we identify according to the Old, not the Old Testament, I don't want to say Old Testament, but we identify through the genealogy of David, because he was the one that the promise was given to.
But there again, I have never said to go back into my genealogy, because that's insignificant now. See, the message is the principal thing. And this is how you identify, who is, in our day and time, our people have been scattered to the ends of the earth. And now after the exile, says that my sheep shall hear my voice, that there would be a differentiating of those that would hear the message. Even physical Israel now, although we know that the Israelites were scattered into the islands, into the Americas, but we cannot point them out physically today, because after the captivity, it is said that these people now must adhere to the Spirit. So my calling in this day and time was to when this message, the angel Gabriel came. How do I know? It is simply because that it is time to start the journey back to the promised land and to establish the long-awaited kingdom of Yah. The only one that could do this, that could receive this message and receive this charge, would have to be, because if I would have then decided to, let me check my genealogy, and to see. But I knew then, if this was in fact true, it would have to come to pass. And if it did come to pass, it says, then ye shall know, if these things come to pass, that you are the person.
Right.
Because if I would have then decided to, let me check my genealogy, and to see. But I knew then, if this was in fact true, it would have to come to pass. And if it did come to pass, it says, then ye shall know, if these things come to pass, that you are the person.
All right, so you wouldn't say every black man as a Hebrew Israelite then?
No, absolutely not.
And would you see that a white man could have the spirit of the Messiah?
No, not of European
Why not?
stock.
Because we're not dealing with a physical thing here, we're dealing with a spirit. So the spirit can be in whatsoever flesh it chooses to project that messianic consciousness. So why not a European?
Because we go all the way back to the Genesis. Again, if our people do not read the Bible from Genesis to Malachi, and we find that there are two seeds upon this earth. There is the Adamic seed and there is the Canaanite seed. There is a seed that is up on this earth that is actually in opposition to the creator. The scriptures say he created the wicked for the day of destruction. There is actually a seed that it can change, and this is the seed that we find in the book of Genesis.
So we're talking about a physical seed here.
A physical seed, a physical seed that has in fact accepted the charge to oppose Yah Yisrael. Okay.
We could go slow. We have to go slow here, right? All right. We're talking about spirit and we're talking about flesh. We are coming to this conclusion, based on what you're saying, that the flesh is not important to the relationship with the Messiah or the Spirit. The Spirit, if it needs a stone to do this, the Spirit will go into the stone and make the stone move and do the work of Yah. So the stone can be used, even though the stone have no relationship to Canaan, have no relationship to Adam. But the stone is a stone. But if man fails to do the work, Yah will put the Spirit in the stone and make the stone do the work.
Now, that is possible.
Okay.
But we must go back again to the prophetic mold. For example, I recall that Balaam's ass, we recall that Balaam's ass talked. That was a talking ass. Balaam's ass talked. And he gave some very, very intelligent instructions. Well, that was like the Creator allowing the ass to talk. Mm-hmm. But we still don't go to the barn looking for our redemption. There is still a way. There is still a plan that is laid out. That is an aberration. In other words, that he could make anything do anything. He could make the European to be obedient. But that was
not going to make the European decide.
That would be absolutely not. Even you will find an individual, that may want to adhere. But that is the same thing, that there are things that the Creator has caused to come to pass that are, in fact, exceptions. Okay. But we must always go back to the order, the mold that was given by the prophet.
All right, so the order is that the Messianic, the Savior, must come through the African Edenic lineage.
Must come through the African Edenic
lineage. Both physical and spiritual.
Physical and spiritual. Yeah. But since all of our people now, there are many of them that have been proliferated all over the planet that are physically, but it is the spirit now that will quicken and to be the final determinant. So let us consider. So now when we're considering the back to the Hebraic lineage, we go back to the Genesis. And we find in the Genesis, it says, and the serpent was more subtle than all of the beasts which Yah created and made. And from the beginning, the serpent was in opposition to the Creator. And then we find that Eve had two seeds. And this was the beginning of this great struggle on this planet, the redemptive struggle. The two seeds, there was the seed of Adam and the seed of Cain, the seed of the serpent. And these two seeds came forth, So that means that there were two seeds, there were two fathers. There were two fathers. So these two seeds now proliferate this earth. So he said unto Cain in the book of Genesis, he said, if thou doest well, he says, shall that not always also be accepted? That's what I say to Europeans. If thou doest well, thou shalt always also be accepted. He said, but if not, he said, sin lieth at the door, and you shall rule over sin. It shall be your habitation. You shall rule over sin. So there would be a seed that ruled over sin. In other words, its existence depended upon sin. This was the seed of Cain.
And you don't see that seed as a physical thing?
Absolutely, it's a physical thing. Yeah. This seed upon this earth has given itself to oppose God. The Euro-Gentile, liberal, democratic social system is anti-God. It is anti-God. You see, because no messenger, no people of God could allow you to have freedom of worship. So we simply are able to determine those that are sent by God. If we look today, who is it that is proliferating ungodliness to the ends of the earth? It's the Europeans. This is his portion. This is his portion. So we cannot look to Europe for the redemption of our people. So this has now moved back to the African Edenic man. And now salvation is coming from in the midst of our people. This spirit goes forth. And this spirit becomes the revealer, like yourself, in listening to you and the things that you say, the things that you advocate. It's another spirit in you. It is another spirit in you that identifies you. And we must then be able to identify that spirit that will identify the sons and daughters. What did Yeshua say? He said, my sheep shall hear my voice, and what? And a stranger they shall not follow.
All right. The Christians declare that. Well, I guess we'll go that already. But I was just going to say that the Christians declare Jesus Christ coming back. Right? That is their perception. That this man rose from the dead physically and is going to come back to judge the earth and in some spectacular way make a new heaven and a new earth. All right. You are seeing the totality of the prophecies resting right here now. That is what you are saying. This is it now.
This is it.
Right. So you will give credence to another Messiah.
Another body maybe, but not another spirit. But
no, we're in the same spirit. In the same spirit. We understand the spirit, you know. We understand that it's one spirit. We understand that. But we're just asking now, like all the Christians saying, it's the Christians still waiting on their Messiah. What I'm hearing is that this is where it is now. This is where
absolutely.
It is now. So right. You wouldn't give credence to a next Messiah. I mean,
not to a coming Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't give
the fact that Yeshua has already returned.
So you don't believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, Yeshua rose from the dead?
Well, there again, what we would do is go back to the Genesis. You see, there's a fabricated resurrection. Let's go back to the Genesis, to what I call the Genesis resurrection. You see, because in all of these things now, people's deception, the devil has deceived the whole world. And if he has deceived the whole world, these philosophies that he has proliferated, they are deceptive. So we go now back to the Genesis. We must go back to find the original death in order to find the original resurrection. You see, so we go back to Genesis, and we find in the 2nd chapter of Genesis that the Creator said, and he breathed into Adam the breath of life, and Adam became a living soul. This is our first contact with life in the Bible. Nothing to do with the seed of a man or the womb of a woman. This is your first contact with man and life in the Bible. Now, if he breathed the breath of life into Adam, what did he breathe into Adam? He breathed sense. He gave him a mind, sense, the breath of life. And if Yah is one, whose mind did he give him? He gave him his mind for his environment. And he gave him the Yah mind. Then with the Yah mind, Adam was considered a what? A living soul.
So you are saying that Adam is Yah in flesh.
That in flesh for his environment.
Yes.
He was the incarnation of God, of Yah on this earth.
Yes.
You know, and it was the first incarnation of Yah on this earth. So he says that, and he breathed, and he gave Adam his mind, and Adam was considered a living soul. Our first contact with life, it all had to do with sense. Sense determined if you were living or if you were in the unconscious realms. So then our first contact with death in the scriptures, in Genesis. See, our people, because the book was sealed, they're not aware of these things, so they can't challenge the lies. So they've accepted superficial speakers of givers of mendacity. So, death says that of all the trees of the garden, thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest therefrom, thou shalt what? Surely die. Nothing to do with a graveyard or a cemetery. That's our first contact with what? Death in the Bible. And both of these instances, life and death, was determined by knowledge. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge of good and evil. You know what knowledge is? What did he breathe into Adam? Knowledge. Yah sense. Hands, how to work for Yah. Eyes, how to see and perceive for Yah. A tongue, how to speak for Yah. So, our first contact with life and death in the Bible had nothing to do with the graveyard. So now, that means then the original resurrection, because we got to go back now.
The mind.
Now, how did you originally die? You died. What did Adam? Okay, let us proceed on to the 3rd chapter in Genesis. And it says, and the serpent approached unto Eve, and he spoke, and he said, has God said unto you, of all the trees of the garden thou mayest freely eat? And he entered into a dialogue with Eve. And he said that unto Eve, finally he said that thou shalt not surely die. Says, for in the day that thou eatest therefrom, says, ye shall be as gods, knowing. There he was. That was the tree. He said, if you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, ye shall surely die. What happened? Eve took and she did what? She did eat. And she gave unto Adam, and he did eat. Both of them came under the influence, the satanic influence. And what happened? When God came back into the garden, after that, both of them had eaten, it says, and now their eyes have been opened. But their eyes were already open, but they begin to see things different.
Right, so we have to make the Jamaican people know that what we're talking here is metaphors, and we are deciphering the myth.
Right.
That is what we're doing, because we don't want people to believe that when you talk about a serpent, you're talking about.
We're not talking about a snake.
A snake.
Absolutely.
No, we just want to get that because we know Jamaican people stay, right?
We're talking about a person.
Yeah, but no, we just want to make that clear, because Jamaican people stay that way. They hear you talking, they say, oh, see, they might defend snake, and they might defend apple.
That is the Eurocentric, lie, in order to give our people the impression. Snakes don't talk, and our people, she didn't eat apple or orange. Matter of fact, it changes every few years. It goes from a plum.
An American apple.
American apple one time. But what it was is that she listened. Of all the trees of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge, if you come under that influence, Adam and Eve, you will be reclassified instead of living souls as dead. So now, Eve ate and Adam ate, and after they had consumed this, it says their eyes were open. They began to see things different. And then when Yah came back into the garden, what did they do? They ran and hid. And our people have been running and hiding from the Creator ever since.
Who told you that you was naked?
Who told you? And then, again, we find out what was going on. And he says that we were naked and we hid ourselves. And did the Creator say, oh, you ate too many apples? You ate too many oranges or plums? What question did he pose to them? He said, who told you? I told someone you have to be entering into dialogue. Who told you that you were naked? In other words, who have you been talking to? And that's the problem today. Our people are still running from Yah Yisrael because they're still under the satanic influence. And under the satanic influence, they will continue to turn their backs on their Maker. That is the objective of Satan. The objective of the devil was to do what? To bring Adam and Eve under his influence and to cause them to turn and to walk contrary to the Creator.
All right. You have to tell me when to stop, because this thing can go on. There's so much things happening here. I want to get back to the community here and the work that you're doing here. Because we noticed that, we've been here now, a week, and we're observing, we're seeing things. It seemed to me that there's a community here that is embellished in as you say, the Genesis to Malachi. So what you see here is certain laws that govern the people in the community that is directly related to the Bible. There's one here that we wanted to clear up with anybody who's listening to this. I am a Rasta man, and in Jamaica, from I have been growing up in Rasta, we have always been licking out against animal products. We don't wear it, we don't eat it, we don't support the killing of it, nothing. Right? And we have been always stressing this in the Rastafari community. We've been always saying the best thing, I remember there was a time in Jamaica when people used to say we're going dead. Rasta when I go dead, and then I'm here kalalo and rice. And then I'm salt, and dead, and so dead. But now we see everybody in Jamaica, you know, jogging and trying to keep healthy, going to these vegetarian restaurants and all these things. So it's almost like a fad now to be a vegetarian. We come to this community and we see the man profess that. One of the things that attracted me with the two brethren them is the day when I went to visit them, I see all these health food on the table and I say, yeah, this is my kind of brethren there, they have my kind of thing, you know. So we come here and we see this now. The Old Testament, I'm going to say the Old Testament for purposes. The Old Testament declares Moses' laws. Moses is telling the people what to eat, what not to eat. I was listening to you today defining this concept, and you saying that Moses is carrying the people through a stage. He could just come to you and say, lack all meat, but you have to take the people through stages of development. So now he's telling them this you must eat, this you must not eat. But it's not that he wants them to eat it. It's just that knowing the people mind, you would have to carry them to a level. Now we understand that clearly. Experience of the people of Jamaica, living here in Israel and living out that law. How you find that with the people who, you know them just coming from America and it's like, you know, America sweet. Or you get it to be institutionalized in the community to the point where everyone accept this law.
This is where we are at this stage of development of the kingdom of Yah. See that in the beginning there was this transition period, but now that's all our history. You see, there is no more transition from you can come now in the community and eat eggs because, but now that's all our history. You see, there is no more transition from you can come now in the community and eat eggs because our people ate eggs for 5 or 6 years. We have grown beyond it. We're in another realm now, another dietary realm. When they come into the kingdom now, they must become vegans almost overnight because that's where we are now. Now, when they come into the sanctuary, now, as we teach in American places like that, they can have their transition periods in their own areas. But if they come into the sanctuary, they must now be complete vegans. And when you mention it's like veganism now has been becoming a fad, and that's what the Europeans will do. They will commercialize in order to remove the spiritual significance, you know, from it, and the fact that this was an original command from Yah Yisrael. So we go back and let us consider, you know, the reason why now that it is much easier for us to take our people through the transition than it was in the beginning. Simply because in the beginning, we just didn't know too much about meat and the dangers and the risk and the colon cancer because it was the beginning. So we begin to cut back. We stopped eating pork. And I must share with you, I always share this with individuals, that in the beginning, we stopped eating pork. And at that time, we felt that we were the heroes of the neighborhood. You know, we thought we had really made a dietary transition. As we look back at it today, we said, man, you really hadn't accomplished nothing. You know, I mean, we were really on the tip of the iceberg. So, but we had just stopped eating pork. We look back at it today, I mean, we hardly eat, all of that is gone. And many of the saints now are eating live, raw food diets and whatnot. We've come so far, but it's been in measure. So, now, in the beginning, you know, we did not understand, so we did not know how to relate these things into our people to give them the strength to make the immediate transition. But we know that today. We went back now in the great revelations now that Yah Yisrael has given us. For example, we consider diet. In the scriptures, see, now this is the direction that we take, and it makes so much sense. The scripture says that man was created from the dust, from the dirt of the earth. So within that statement, there are two things that can be proved. First of all, the Genesis creative process, and if in fact we were created from the dust of the earth, there has to be some kind of a synergy, something to bear witness that that is true. So let us consider. Okay, were we really created from the dust of the earth? If we were created from the dust of the earth, we ought to find the minerals that are in the earth in our bodies. So, can we find iron? Remember, iron now is a mineral in our body. What about zinc? What about manganese? What about calcium? What about nickel? All of these minerals are in fact in our body, and if you do not supply your body with sufficient amounts of those minerals, you will get sick and you will die. So now, not only are they in our body, they are essential. But the omnipotent Yah Yisrael, knowing that we could not eat iron as a mineral, we could not go and we could not consume zinc, manganese as a mineral, in his infinite wisdom and knowing, but if we were the created from the earth, we had to have it. So what did he do? He caused plants to grow up from the same earth for which we were created, and in these plants, he told us to consume them, and in these plants, we would get iron, zinc, manganese, calcium, all of these essential minerals. So it's not a fad. So we find that what I call the ecology of Adam, the ecology of Adam. We were then. In fact, it proves that the Genesis account of the creation is in fact true, because we find that we had to be created from the soil, because we have all of those minerals in us. And we must continue to supply those minerals to our body. So Yah, in his infinite wisdom, he caused the earth to yield plants. So now, if we take that same plant and we give it to the cow, and then the cow has to process it, and then it becomes what is called a complex compound, and then you and I trying to get the same iron from the complex compound that has gone through the cow, you just envision what has to happen to our bodies. I mean, it's quite a different process, me getting the iron from the plant and trying to get the iron from the flesh. So, I cannot, my body was not made to consume that. Although I am aware that Moses gave in the law, he allowed them to consume certain meat. But our people were in a state of deterioration. This was a falling people, a people that could not understand the upper realms. So he was simply putting them on a path of dietary consciousness, which would lead them back and lead them on into the upper realms of dietary needs and dietary consciousness.
All right. So all right. Look, I'm going to let's throw this to you. Animals. Why is it that animals eat flesh? Because the Bible says in Genesis that he also gave the herbs of the earth to the animals too. So what has caused the animals to go to this carnivorous thinking behavior?
Because man became an enemy of the animals. So subsequently, the animal then became an enemy of man.
No, not the animals eating man. The animals eating other animals. You have animals that just prey on other animals. Is this because of man? Why the animals? It
is because of the evil that man has proliferated, even in the midst of... everything is in disorder today. Nothing is like it was. So we even find, but the promise is that soon it says the lion and the lamb shall sit down together and they shall consume straw. Everything today is under the influence of evil.
Every animal was made as vegetarian.
Every animal, he would consume straw, the vegetables. He would eat also, of the herbs of the field.
All right. There is, would you consider the African Israelites patriarchal?
Say that again.
Would you consider the African Hebrew Israelites patriarchal, the community here?
Right, we're patriarchal, but again, that once again our sisters must understand that we have simply gone back to the preferred order of Genesis. It is not oppressive, it is not regressive. We go back to the order of Genesis, the creation in Genesis. We find Yah creating Adam from the dust of the earth in his image. Why didn't he create Eve from the dust of the earth? He certainly was qualified and capable, but why didn't Yah Yisrael create Eve from the dust of the earth? But Eve was taken from Adam.
All right, tell me why.
So, and we will get to that. But Eve was taken from Adam. It was simply a message unto the sisters that what? You are a byproduct of man. Man is the source of your existence. Now, this does not mean that she becomes a second-class citizen, because we go a step further and we find that then the man and the woman come together to create children. And the children then are told that honor thy father and thy mother. So it is simply in order. It is simply for the woman to understand. You see, and this is why that the Europeans all over the earth, whenever they moved in to conquer our people, they would always, from the Genesis, The devil has always been a coward. He approached who? He approached Eve. He approached our woman. And our woman allowed him to turn her against her man, not understanding that without your man, she is weak, she becomes helpless, and also vulnerable before the adversary. Because the message of Genesis is that the man is the source of the strength of the woman. And so we find, and for example, we even take the English word there, that I said that woman is a derivative of man. That's the message that the Holy One of Israel is delivering to our people. Woman can be a queen. A queen is a derivative of a king. What is wrong with being a queen? A queen is not a second-class citizen, but a queen is a derivative of a king. So simply we say to the sisters, if you want to be a queen, find you a king. We say if you want to be a princess, find you a prince. It's a derivative of a prince. And we're not talking about our sisters don't walk behind us. They walk right beside us. But it is simply an understanding that a woman in the kingdom cannot be a man, and a man cannot be a woman. There is a place for everyone in this kingdom. So we go back to the order. Yah created man in his image from the dust of the earth. Woman was taken from man. So man, woman's existence depends upon the existence of man. So the Europeans,
the man don't depend on the woman to exist.
Right. The man has to keep his hands in the hands of Yah. The woman has to keep her hand in the hands of man. And children, honor thy father and thy mother, that they may prolong your days on the land which Yah Yisrael has given you. But the Europeans, right down to this very day, when they come in and attempt to neutralize, to conquer a people, they always come in and turn the sisters against the brothers. And our sisters have been very gullible, not understanding that if you destroy the man, you destroy yourself. For according to the order of Genesis, without man there can be no woman.
And you don't give credence to the oldest fossil of the human being a woman.
No.
You don't give credence.
The fossil have, according to the Genesis creative order.
I know, but they found Denkenish. I don't know if you know about Denkenish. Denkenish is the fossil of what they call Lucy. They found it between Kenya and Ethiopia. That they said this is the oldest bones of human existence. You don't give credence to that.
No, if they keep digging, they'll find more. They will find more. They will find more.
So you will never agree to that level. You don't believe that. All right, we understand that. It's patriarchal. We don't have people going further. All right. So now the patriarchal society decides that a man must have more than one woman.
No, it is allowed within the laws, but the man has to decide that for himself.
Okay.
But it is
the law allows it.
Allows for a man to have up to 7 wives.
All right. Explain how that works in this community.
Okay.
How does a man go about this? Maybe I should have asked the woman. I don't know. Maybe I should have asked the woman. Explain to me.
Well, there's what we call divine marriage. And divine meaning in a manner that is pleasing unto Yah Yisrael. So what it is simply that we go back historically, in the history of our people, and we find that this isn't something that began with us. As a matter of fact, the great majority of African Ebonic people the earth over, they practice polygyny. This isn't something new. It only became new once it was opposed by the European because he couldn't control his woman. We never had any problems, with the man having more than one wife until the European influence came in the midst of our people. This is as old as Adam. This isn't new. The children of Israel were born from 4 women. That we go back and we find that all of these myths that have been proliferated in the midst of our people are to continue to the things that are needed in order to support it. For example, if we consider, that our sisters must keep nida, and that means that during the cycle of menstruation, when she's in her menstruation, that she's not allowed into the kitchen, she's not allowed to cook, there's no physical connection between her and the brother. So that means that another sister, whether it is his wife or not, has to come into the home. So the social system requires that a woman become comfortable with another woman coming in and taking care of her family. But this relaxes her. but it makes her see her sister in another light. But a brother is allowed to pursue. But we have a very strict marital system in the kingdom, because an individual is allowed 7 wives, but he has to go through many, many channels in order to take on another wife. First of all, he has to go and to seek permission from the father and the mother if he is allowed to pursue the sister. If they do not agree, then he cannot even pursue the sister. If he feels that it is just being selfish, he can continue to pursue it and ask the priesthood if they would talk to the father and the mother, to see if, in fact, they can convince them to allow him to pursue.
Suppose the father and the mother is in America.
Then the sister comes under the influence of the father of the kingdom. Okay. She would come under the influence of the brotherhood. She would come under the influence of the priesthood, or under the influence of the father himself. But nevertheless, all of these things, are written in the law. I mean, this isn't something that we have created.
No, we know that.
Our sisters must find comfort again, with the man being able to pursue and to take on more than one wife. Mm-hmm. This is not to denigrate her, to make her anything less, because you can't take, any of the love from a man, from the love that he has for a woman. That all of the love that he has for this woman will always be hers. He's not sharing her love. Her love is always hers in totality. If he takes on another woman, then he has to give her the love that he has for her, not to take from the love of that woman. The woman all seems to sometimes to feel that, well, I'm going to lose something. You're not going to lose, you're going to gain. It is our social system. It does allow, but then after it is approved, then they must go to the priesthood. And there has to be what we call mikudeshet sittings, at least a minimum of 10 for a minimum of 70 days. They must come and they must be taught to be certain that both of them understand the ramifications of being husband and wife in the kingdom of the Most Holy. Everything is placed on the table. And then after that, they must go back again to the father and the mother. See if they will allow them, if they're ready for them at that time to get married. The father and mother may determine that, no, you need to go a little bit longer.
All right. You reach 7 wives, and you see a next one. How we work that out?
In the course of history, Muta, what we will do is that we will put that, on the request list of the brethren, and we will consider that in the future. For right now, at this stage of the development of the kingdom, you reach 7 and you have to hold up until that law changes.
Okay.
But as we continue to spiral on, possibly.
Well, the law can change, though. The law can change. It's about time and environment. The law can change. It's not just like stamp it. This is it forever and ever.
That is it only for now, for this stage of our development.
Okay, all right. I don't know how much time we have. 5 minutes? 5 minutes. I don't know. All right. We want to just say give thanks. Give thanks for really giving us the opportunity to do this interview. And we hope that one day we'll get to accommodate you in Jamaica, like how we accommodate the brethren there, It's really good to know that we can come here, I find it very interesting going to the old Jerusalem. It really looks like an old Jerusalem to me. I don't know about it, and Mount Zion, I am a Rasta man. I've been hearing about Mount Zion for years, the city of the great king. We'll go to this place them call the Sepulchre. I have to wait to put the pieces together. But as far as I say, it just looks like a big entertainment thing to me. I mean, I'm talking about down that Sepulchre place. It's really, it looks like, they put it there. They tell you that this is a tomb and this is this big rock and this thing. And still I try to figure that out. But it's really give thanks to know so we could come in the midst of someone who is living out a perception which is good to eye. You have this vision and you're living out the vision, very important. It's not a dream. It's a reality. So we just give thanks for accommodating us,
Thank you. Thank you, Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this
FM
coming through from
FM. As a matter of reference, if you keep hearing the brethren say, yeah, Israel. The reason for that is that them don't say Jah. In the Hebrew language, there's no J. So Y is there instead of J. So they say Ya instead of Ja. They will never say Ja. They say Ya. It's very interesting that week before last, Benjamin was 75 when he died. And I must tell you that we have conversations outside of the interview where death come up in a whole heap of arguments. And you hear him say that place is the end of it now. This is where the final place. And he's the Lion of Judah. Well, we don't know who's the Lion of Judah now because it's a reoccurring decimal. This thing about the Lion of Judah and who is representing the final showdown when it comes on to the resurrection of your people. But we can see where the Bible again is coming into a lot of interpretation again, and people use it and have reasoning and arguments and conversation and even sound logical when they try to decipher some papers that was written 4,000 years ago and put it into perspective in this time. Very complicated. Very, very, very complicated. Yeah, the first Culture Edge for the year. And we promise you that it is now sitting into the 25th anniversary of IRFM. And we have been here 23 years. Well, I tell you, I'm going to write it by my back, I'm going to write it by my back. But they are here for 23 years. I talk to the people them. And now we see where Cutting Edge is viewed, listened to by people in 159 different countries. 150, this is the statistics given to me out of England and published 24th of December 2014 that Cutting Edge is viewed, listened to in 159 different countries. So it's not a simple thing I go on here, so on Wednesday night. Not a simple thing. But we want to get back to the philosophy of what we call the 12 tribe and the relationship as I see it with Benjamin Group, where the argument of the Lion of Judah is concerned, where the Lion of Judah, as it is related to the Ethiopian documents, the Ethiopians say them emperor descended from the line of David, thus the Lion of Judah. And when you read the Bible in the Revelation, you see the Lion of Judah mentioned and the throne of David. Well, this man recognized and said that the throne of David is not a physical throne, but is he who does the work to revive Israel in the land. He who revived Israel in the land is recognized as the Lion of Judah. That is where him say. Now, brother, I got to tell you that Haile Selassie is the Lion of Judah, but there is one to come that to sit upon the throne, and that one is Jesus Christ. And he's the one who's going to take. Well, him is the final authority, Jesus Christ. In a way, this man, Benjamin, almost like him I say, him, the prophecy, end pan. But we know that a whole heap of people come in that name already. over the years, over the hundreds of years, and says them fulfilling that. You know, just like how hundreds of youth in the early 60s, late 70s, late 70s, did follow 12 tribe of Israel. Well, follow Federation, sorry. And when the legitimacy of the Federation was in question, God weave out of that and weave into a biblical pronouncement that we no longer want to see ourselves as the Ethiopian World Federation, but want to see ourselves as the 12 tribes of Israel. And then now him set up certain principle. And one of the main principles is to designate each person to one of the tribes of Israel. Not recognizing it like, oh, other Rasta did see it, or even the Hebrew Israelites did see it, as what we call Judah, the house of Judah. So you follow the line of Judah, you say you're the son of Haile Selassie, so you must be Judah too. Him never see it that way. Him seen say, the Genesis 49 and the relationship between the astronomy, because I'm still going to astronomy, because what it is that Israel came out of Egypt. By the way, did you hear that they banned the movie Exodus out of Egypt? Yeah, them banned, just like the interview a gone on a fire. The movie named Exodus, the new movie, Gods and Kings, or Kings and Gods, is banned in Egypt. Because the Egyptians say, no go so. I tell you, assault from people culture by Hollywood is a serious thing, you know. Assault and people culture by Hollywood is a serious thing. But the idea of Israel coming out of Egypt that's why they call it Passover, you know, in the month of Abib, the first new moon in the month of Abib is recognized as the beginning of the naming of the tribes of Israel, according to Brother Gad. And in carry through a lengthy process to start from Reuben, go right down for show you that each person, if you're born on that month, you is part of that tribe. My contention with it is that who said that each of the son them did born 12 different months? That's my contention with it, you know. Who said that each of the son them did born 12 different months? As a matter of fact, it would the improbability of it is really serious. That you have 12 sons and the 12 of them born the 12 different months of the year. And then you have hundreds of people reading the same book and coming out with his idea, not your idea, you know. Because you try to read to find truth for yourself, but the truth where you find is a next man's truth. And that is really what the organization do to your mind. Because if you check the man them in the Hebrew Israelites them, all of them read the Old Testament and come up with the same idea like Benjamin. That is a thing where well, to me is a dangerous thing. Very dangerous thing when you have a man a direct the course of events for a group of people who him come up with the Bible doctrine were written 4,000 years ago, and him come interpret it for you, and then now him have thousands of people that follow him. And when him dead, there is almost a kind of doubt that farm, and you have to be on a strong footing, you know, because I don't know how And I think I'm going to have to go get an interview now with where is now the Hebrew Israelites position. What is the Hebrew Israelite position? I need to get an interview with someone from Israel can tell me now that Benjamin passed away, what is the Israelite position now? But I know that wherever we reach was really a serious place where you have almost 6,000 people in Israel under that banner of Hebrew Israelites and maintain themselves outside of the government of Israel. It's really a task and a feat in itself where you have to respect. Because that is what 12 tribes should have been. But then now it's the 12 tribes feed into obscurity and oblivion. You know, a lot of people who did have them jobs and them this and them that and follow 12 tribes now very disappointed because they had expected other things and certain things never happen, certain things never work out. A lot of ones pass remarks that them get disappointed in that. But life goes on, and Rastafari continue the movement, revolutionary movement to liberate the minds of the people, them African people from colonialism and white supremacy. And we know that one of the things about white supremacy is that it maintains itself in a religion. And religion is one of the main things that them use for oppress we. Because the man did say the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed.